Game's a bit quiet. Not only is it quiet, it's basically silent. I'm on Twitch today. I can never see the Twitch chat, which is a good shout. Let's go get the Twitch chat. What do you mean I'm live? Don't even ask me. Oh, well, when did I get 42 Twitch followers? Huh? Huh? When did that happen? Oh, maybe we need like 100 more. Who knows? We got a few Twitch followers. How graceful. I appreciate that. I don't remember how much it was the last time I looked at it, but that's pretty cool. 42 people have somehow found me on Twitch. Or maybe they came from other platforms. Interesting. So let's just put like... This Twitch is like the purple stepchild. I'm joking. Oh wait, I'll just test the audio. I'm joking. Okay, we're good. It's kind of dark in here. Maybe that'll make the room a bit cooler. Or maybe that's an illusion. I don't think it'll make much difference with this big ass TV in front of me. Burning my face off. Did I pin that? I didn't. Did we do a test? I like the fact that they've updated it, but it seems to be lacking in some way. I can't really put my finger on it. Oh, so what? Fan on. Alright, let's check the audio. Hey, it's like 8 people watching. Hello there. Any hot takes? Here, I'll tell you a hot take. Humans invented God. Changed my mind. I'll start the stream before I start yapping. The sound doesn't sound that bad. Oh yeah, you can hear the fan. It's like shh. But it's so hot, man. I need the fan. I'm sorry. It is too hot. I'll switch it off in a bit. Maybe not. It's so hot. It's like 31 degrees in this room. I think as time goes, I'll adjust to the heat and I won't need the fan on maybe. But it is really hot. So yeah, for the people over on the red place, humans invented God. All known gods are psychological constructs and do not exist independently of the mind. If your God requires belief, imagination or faith to interact with, it's functionally non-existent. It requires that somebody devises a concept of it and imparts it to you for you to interact with, or you yourself have to devise a concept of God in order to interact with it in any meaningful way. No one, as far as I know, has ever discovered a God. All gods in all forms have to be invented. That's just one conversation that we can get to in a minute. But now that the stream has officially begun, I think we can now start playing a game. Let's get all the admin stuff in order. Hi. Let's get an audio check over there. That fan is great, but it's not really good enough. Test. Ugh, sounds ugly. Alright then. We're going to be talking about some taboo things soon. Just give it a minute. Saved view for later, what's that? Okay, cool. I'm gonna play the game until somebody pops up to talk to. Let's turn it up a bit. Sure, bro. What do you want to debate? I'll invite you up. Oh, what's it doing now? Why would you think I'm that way? This new layout is a bit difficult to navigate. All you gotta do is request up to speak to me. Oh, it's glitching. Oh, you don't want to go up? Then you don't want to debate. Do you want a text battle? Bro wants a rap battle through text. That was quite popular back in the day. You debate in the comments. Well, it's very, very difficult to do. Right? You can try though. I'll try my best to respond. Bro wants a rap battle. Alright, so what was the task again? Alright, can we get underground? We can, I've done this already. It's dubious. Beholder of Death, Great Waterfall Basin, Aqueduct facing the cliff. Alright, I think I know what this is. Let's go find Blad. No, right? I don't know about test it. On the surface of it, it seems like an interesting idea, but we've already got a big problem with like, how can I explain this? Like false authority. Like, so I'll put it to you like this: the world is literally built on humans just winging it. Right? At a certain period of time, a certain group of people rose to power and decided to establish certain systems. Right? Things like marking, accreditation, like that, titles of an office, places like that. Things like that are all actually societal constructs, meaning they're just inventions. So what's happened with the invention of those things, where people get to say who is valued, who is worthy, that power's been abused, right? And it's been monopolized to serve a few over the needs and the humanity of the rest. So designing a system where you'd say, oh look, truth be told, we don't have like full democracy anyways, right? But designing a system would be like, oh look, now you have to pass this new sort of academic type of quiz function or test to vote, would only continue that exploitation of people. Because bear in mind, who has the right to tell you, who has the right to say, oh you I'm not really explaining myself properly. If the short answer, Brandon, is no, right? There shouldn't be a test in order to vote. It sounds like a good idea on the surface, like people will be misinformed and do stupid stuff, but if you actually want a real democracy, then you have to allow for that, or else there'd be no point. Unfortunately, anything you're burning and putting inside your body is probably bad for you. What's an EVB? What's that? Oh, did you just mean like everybody should be required to vote? Well, look, you, in the same way, like academic systems and accreditation is invented, so are rights invented, right? Everyone should have the ability to vote, but the ability to abstain from voting is also something that you should be able to exercise too. Right? So saying that you have to vote is would kind of defeat the purpose of voting in the first place. That's an opinion, though, not necessarily a fact. Yeah, I agree. October. Well, I just haven't really put together the view yet. All right, let's see if we can find Blad. There's a way to get down there. Yeah, there's definitely there's a history of voting fraud. Elections are notoriously rigged. There's lots of bad things happening. The only problem is, all right, think about it like this, right? As like a working class person, the system is already rigged in terms of when you are able to vote, right? Yeah, they set up polls, some polling stations, so you can like leave work and go there and just wait in the queue hours after your long day of work. But the reality is, for most people, it's inconvenient to get up and go out and vote in the first place. So I think addressing something like that while still managing, some kind of security would probably be the best way. I'm not saying it should necessarily just be online or just by post, although you can kind of do that already. It's just creating another barrier to entry would only just put people off. People already don't like tests. Oh, that's a fact. It's old people who have been, like, in our country specifically, right? The votes have been cornered by old people. Most policies are made geared towards the benefit of older people. That's a fact in our country. Like, you see every election cycle, whichever party seems to be in power will just be basically just kissing their ass, basically, just saying, "Oh, we'll do this policy for like old conservative people." They'll say whatever they need to get the age to vote. But the reality is, it's the young people that have to live through all those decisions all the way up until they get old, and then they'll be like, "Oh well, we had to suffer through this, so the next generation has to suffer through this." It's the same crude cycle. If we could, folks, like, if you want to hear me actually speak to somebody about a topic, please tap that screen and repost. Otherwise, we should be yapping, playing Elden Ring, or like melt in this bloody room. It's bloody 31 degrees in this room. Thanks for tapping a like. Yeah, I think all forms of smoking. Alright. The reported pros of smoking do not even come close to the well documented cons of smoking. So it doesn't make sense. Alright, I think we have to go the other way. Yeah, I'm from the UK. No problem, Brandon. Glad I could help. No, it's not like saying video games could be banned, but I would be willing to have that conversation as well if you want to come up. If you think video games should be banned, come up and give me your reasons. Maybe you can convince me. Well, Zero, come up. What is the bigger reasons? Tell me, don't just like throw that out. It's just like, I'm scared to talk about this. There are other bigger problems. What are the bigger problems we should talk about then? Share. Class, discuss, death, that. all of them. There's no reason to smoke anything. It's only going to damage you. Let's do a little sound check while we're loading up. So people are a little bit shy. No, I'm not in the USA yet, but I'm coming over there. Coming to invade. So, just so I could hear Americans say, "The British are coming! The British are coming!" Once more. Yup, sound check. Seems we got sound. What's up, Philip? Wait, let's make sure we have really got. Yup. Yeah. Cool. Got sound. The British are coming. But no, I'm in the UK right now. As you can tell by the fact that I'm melting away. Answer that. Come up here, Montana. I'll explain it to you, right? 7 million people die a year from smoking directly, and 1.6 million people die from secondhand smoke. So it does affect people. Yeah, come up here, young blood. I'll learn you a lesson. Right. Yeah, well, I think it's put it this way: using the word illegal has certain connotations to people. Essentially, yeah, like the recreational consumption of substances that damage you should be illegal, but maybe not framed in such a way. But yes, I do think that. Yeah, Montana, come up, man. Request up and talk to me like that. I can't really be bothered to go back and forth like this. It's a bit sad. It sounds like you might be scared, or maybe you don't really have a point. That's it, Montana. Big man thing. Come on, Montana. Take a deep breath, buddy. Let's do this. Montana. Uh-oh,
Yes, sir.
Montana.
Yes, sir.
Montana, you driving, bro.
No, I'm in the store right now. I just was, but I had to hop on here real quick, man, because you fucking me up with that.
All right, brilliant. All right, so before we begin, I'm assuming you want to talk about smoking being banned, all right?
Yeah, I do.
So a couple questions I ask everyone who picks this topic. First question, have you ever worked in or around the tobacco or cannabis industries?
Dispensary right now.
Say again, sorry?
Got the dispensary right now.
I can't hear you properly, bro.
I work at a dispensary.
Ah, okay, so you work in a dispensary. Thanks for disclosing that. Not a lot of people are open about, their affiliations. The second question is, do you consume either of those substances?
Yeah, I smoke here and there. Might hit the vape.
Last question for you. Do you mind sharing what age you began using those substances?
I got introduced to smoking in 7th grade. So that was like, what, 2000 and probably 7, probably 8?
So how old would you have been then?
About 7 or 8. 8 or 9 or something like that.
Say again, sorry?
No, I was like 13. Yep, so like 2013.
Okay. Alright, so cool. What do you want to talk about, bro?
I just want to know one question, because I understand why everybody do what they do. I just want to know why you think it should be banned if you don't even do it. I would see
Um,
if you smoked before, but have you ever smoked before?
yeah, but I think that's a bad reasoning, alright? So question for you. Does someone have to have committed a murder to have an opinion about a murder?
In a way,
Really?
yeah. Because
Would care to
I know
explain?
people who, yeah, definitely. Because it's like this. If 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 so, long story short, I went to jail with a guy who had life for shooting a person who touched his little sister, which
Hmm.
was murder. In the book is murder, but in the regular people head, that's more self defense.
No, it's not self-defense. That's vigilante. It's like a vigilanteism.
So let me ask you something.
If
So
it,
if
if it
if
was the sister who shot him, then it'd be self-defense.
so let me ask you this one question. If do you got siblings?
Of course.
How old are they?
I am not talking about that. That's their personal life. That's the details the company put out there.
All right. Well, we just gonna give it a number. Say your sibling, 8 years old, female, and a 40-year-old grown man is touching on her, and you
Yes, that'd get me very angry. It would definitely get me
exactly.
angry. But this has nothing to do with the question, right? So, your view was I should have to smoke to be able to talk about smoking, and I asked you, well, do I have to commit a murder to be able to have an opinion about murder? That was the point.
We both got good points. I'm not
No,
gonna lie.
I don't think your point had anything to do with the actual conversation.
It really do. You just gotta. One thing I learned about
I
life, bro,
don't think it
is
does.
it's way deeper than the ignition. The initial question is never that shallow. It's way
I
deeper than
agree.
initial question.
I
Way
agree.
deeper.
But so to the point, what I was trying to demonstrate to you or illustrate to you is that no, you don't have to have done something to have an opinion about said thing, right? It would be ridiculous, right? So that'd be saying us making a law that killing somebody is illegal means everyone here needs to be able to kill someone or has to have killed someone to agree that this is going to be illegal. So that'd be ridiculous to think in that way.
Let me cut this camera off while I'm driving. But what I'm saying, it's like this. It's like
Hey, brother,
everybody got the right to have an
brother, you
opinion.
can't you can't be on stream when you're driving, fam. That's against the guidelines. So just like come back up in like 10 minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, cool. Hello.
Yo,
What's up, bro?
hey,
Can I get a name?
what's up, bro? Yeah, my name's Ahmad.
Say again.
Ahmad,
Ahmad.
Ahmed.
Ahmed.
Yeah, like Ahmed.
Ahmed. All right. Nice to meet you, Ahmed. Couple questions for you.
Ahmed.
Ahmed. Is that right?
Yeah, you can say that, I guess. Yeah, go ahead. No worries.
Ahmed. Hey, I'm not good with the accent.
No worries, brother. No worries.
So yeah, what topic do you want to speak about first? You got a hot take or on?
Oh yeah. I got a super hot take. This is a very interesting topic.
Okay,
I used to gas up. I used to get cooked. I used to go to
that's interesting usage.
yeah. Back in like maybe 4 years ago, right? And I used to go get cooked and then go to the dispensary, and I used to love it, right?
Oh
But
wait,
I
wait.
think that
Is this about smoking or is it something else?
yeah. This is about smoking.
All right, yeah, cool. So if it's about smoking, I've got a couple questions before we start. All right.
Go ahead, bro.
So first question: have you ever worked in or around the tobacco or cannabis industries?
Yes.
Cool. Do you mind explaining a bit more?
Yes, I worked in Walgreens and I sold cigarettes, nicotine, and
Hmm.
we had weed we used to sell too.
Really?
Well, I did on the side.
Don't incriminate yourself, you idiot. Anyways, all right. So thanks for being honest, but that's not the way I meant. I meant like in an official capacity.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Okay, all right. So the second question is: do you or have you used those substances before?
100%.
All
More
right.
than those substances too. So
Lot.
I'm a huge drug addict. So
Damn.
totally.
It's just volunteering information. Hey, if
Well,
any of you trying to do crime out there with this guy, do not take this guy.
brother.
Don't take this guy with you to do crime. Don't take this. Like last question. Last question. Wait.
I'm Muslim, brother.
Last question.
I'm
Okay.
Muslim, brother. I can't expose my sins. I'm doing this for educational purposes, my brother.
Oh, okay. Good. That's good. All right. So last question for you. Right. Do you mind sharing what age you began using these substances?
At the age of 12, I'm 23.
Damn, that's unfortunate, bro. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
feel free. The floor is yours now.
Yes, so after using it for so long, dumbing down my brain, and me becoming an idiot, what are you laughing about?
It just sounds funny, innit? And I started thinking about what you just said prior to that. So,
Okay.
but carry on. Sorry.
Anyways, basically, I used to use it a lot, and I would think that the difference between recreational and medicinal is key.
Hmm.
But in reality, though, I think medicinal actually is the only primary thing you need to focus on in terms of institutionally promoting it through these companies, and only keep it for reasons like cancer and things in the medicinal field, and kind of allow it to be way more expensive than it is if we were to use it recreational, because it is such a actually no, we shouldn't, because that would create more drug use. So I think we should just eliminate it, that part, and we should focus primarily on basically like, you know what I'm saying, like,
You've
she
made
laughing.
you've made a point. It's like you just like grasping at straws at this point.
Yeah,
So
so basically, I ain't
I'm
trying
in
to
a
promote the part where people using recreational to dumb down their brains. I'm trying to use it for medicinal purpose only, and keep it in the medicinal fields. So in reality, that we promote in the medicinal part of it.
all right.
So we
Slow
can
down.
reach the
Slow
people
down
with
now.
the
Slow
cancer
down.
patients.
Slow down now.
Okay.
Right. So I'm in agreement that recreational and medicinal uses should be completely separate. A line in the sand should be drawn. A lot of people like to conflate those things in order to get away with all kinds of silly stuff. So I'm in agreement. If it's a medicinal setting, and I don't, when I say in agreement, I don't mean smoking it for medicinal purposes. That is nonsense. Okay, I'm talking about chemical extracts of THC or CBD or nicotine. Okay, I do not mean smoking it when I say medicinal. The only
You mean
thing,
smoking nicotine in general too?
yeah, you did. Anyways, right. Look, but anyways,
Of course,
let
nicotine.
me just
Yeah,
finish the
nicotine
point, right?
shouldn't be banned.
But the only other thing that I take umbrage with is your view on linking it to cancer, right? That I think that's very dangerous misinformation, and a lot of people who are suffering with, I forget what it's called, but types of oncology, basically
Well, no, you got it
different.
wrong, brother.
Let me finish, all right? Different people are suffering with different types of cancers. I think it's dangerous for us to put out there as if like like weed is within that kind of zone of panaceas that help with cancer. Now, some individuals may report stress relief or pain relief, but we shouldn't put that out there, because what it actually creates is a situation where someone who is struggling with this actual ailment or this disease would start thinking, actually, let me opt for this holistic approach to manage my, terminal illness rather than going the route that could potentially save their life. Now, both is, if you're going to try something, do it alongside what the actual doctors are telling you to do. But the reason I just like to make that clear, because it is dangerous, and the wrong influence could actually unalive somebody or leave people without parents and siblings, etc. So I don't like the idea that we associate cannabis use with cancer treatment, because it's not actually demonstrated as that.
Can I go?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I think we should focus on the promotion aspect of it. In reality, I think that people, you know what I'm saying, that use it, there's a broad understanding of how people use it in terms of good versus bad. So I think that we should understand that, yes, there is understanding that the modern class has understood that marijuana is a very beneficial tool for all people. No, not just people, cancer patients, for people that want to use it recreational as well. I understand. But brother, you have to
That's not actually true.
Hold on. Let me finish. But you gotta understand, we should stop promoting the idea that, you know what I'm saying, marijuana is so normal and it doesn't have addiction problems. Like, we got Snoop Dogg over here smoking 24/7 and people love him like he's a god.
Yeah, but you're kind of
Like,
contradicting
you know what
yourself.
I'm saying, at Super Bowl, worshiping him down the damn street like he a damn goddamn, you know what I'm saying, like God or something. This is a problem within the community, not a problem within the damn, you know what I'm saying, people. Because people can use marijuana. That's God's plant.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Right, so slow down,
People
bro.
like the industry promote it so wrong.
You gotta slow down,
use it
bro.
so wrongly.
You're kind
You know what
of
I'm
the way your speaking style is kind of jarring, and it's very fast paced, and it's like a gish gallop, right? And it's very
It's
difficult.
like a gish gallop to you because you hear it
It's
true.
very difficult to speak to people like this who can't like speak linear. Alright, so just take your
We
time.
also need to ban alcohol. If you want to talk about marijuana, we got to start with alcohol first. You fucking talking about marijuana. Get the alcohol out of here. We got car crashes every damn year.
Oh my gosh. Alright, so come back when you calm down, bro. You're all over the place. It's very difficult to have a conversation with someone like that. Just come back when you calm down, okay? Hello. Hello.
What's up?
Can I get a name that you want to be called?
You can call me Jimmy.
Nice to meet you, Jimmy. So, do you want to talk about the main topic, or do you want to convince me of a hot take?
I don't know. I just joined this to see you're playing Elden Ring. I've actually never done a TikTok like this. What were you talking about? Marijuana being bad?
Yeah, that's what the last guest was talking about.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to clarify about the cancer thing. I actually think that from a medical perspective, I think
if you're going to decide to speak about the smoking issue, then there's a couple of questions I've got to ask you before you start.
Oh, sure.
All right. So, first question is: have you ever worked in or around the tobacco or cannabis industries?
No.
Have you ever used either of those substances?
Yes.
Do you mind sharing what age you started using them?
Tobacco, chewing. I never smoked cigarettes, but chewing tobacco probably 15.
Cool. Now, the floor is yours. You can say what you want to say about cancer.
Oh, I was just gonna say that obviously I think alcohol and marijuana are both bad, and people don't really use them in moderation as they should probably most of the time. But I think the misconception about the cancer thing. I've seen a lot of cancer patients. It's really good for stimulating hunger, and a lot of studies have shown it's really good for pain control in cancer patients. But it's not to treat
I don't know about that second part. The first bit is substantial to an extent, but I don't know about that second part. There's not been comparative studies done with marijuana and things like paracetamol, morphine, etc. Comparative studies haven't been done yet. So the first part seems to be a side effect of consuming weed.
Yeah, and I mean they use it as it's not smoking. A lot of it's edible treatment, but it has a lot of good medical efficacy for pain control. I mean, I've as a physician, I've talked to lots of patients that use it. And they report a lot of improvement from it. But that being said, I think non-medicinal use wise, it definitely can cause like early onset schizophrenia if you're already predisposed to it, and it's not good is what I would say. But
agreed. Yeah. So as a physician, right? Do you not think there's an issue when people try to parade certain substances as like miracle drugs or like panacea cures. Do you not see an issue with that?
Yeah, I mean, even Tylenol has side effects, right? I mean, I don't think anything. I don't think a miracle drug exists. I think there's drugs that, for the right purpose, can help. But marijuana is certainly not a miracle drug.
Do you think there's a clear conflation, like in culture, with the medicinal extracts from the marijuana or from cannabis and like recreational smoking? Damn.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's like anything. I think any kind of drug is not great, but I think a lot of people. I think my biggest thing now is everything's being laced. I mean, I see patients all the time that in the hospital that have laced marijuana with. Right now, xylazine is being laced in the drug supply like crazy.
But what do you think about the conflation? People mixing up medicinal use with actual recreational use.
I don't really know. I'm not really fully sure on what you're asking, I guess.
So like for instance, like people will call up and say, oh yeah, like I use marijuana to manage pain or anxiety or like cancer, but they're actually using it in a like a recreational setting, not a medicinal extract type of setting. So what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I mean, my only opinion is my personal opinion is it should be recreational, because of then if it was controlled to the government, it would like laced and all that at least. But
what makes you say that?
Well, I mean, if you get it from a dispensary or something, you can trust it probably a lot more than if you were to just buy it from Joe on the street.
That's kind of contradictory to what you just said.
I'm not sure what you mean.
So you said the government's going to lace it previously, that's what you said.
No.
That's what it sounds like you said.
No. I'm not like a conspiracy person at all. I'm saying if it's
what sounded like you.
No, I'm not at all. No. I'm saying if it was legal and you could get it through dispensaries, it sounds like it would be regulated and you wouldn't, there's a less chance of things being laced and stuff like that, like if you were to buy it off the street.
Yeah, that's kind of true, but the problem with commercializing cannabis is like you create like an arms race to make the most potent, to create the most customer base, or to largen your customer base. That's the problem with commercialization of it. So that means it starts to introduce things like, let's tweak the flavors, let's make it more accessible, let's heighten the THC content. That's kind of what happens in the commercial space. So that
I'm sure it would.
Bad effects as well.
But the problem is now, I mean, you can go into a gas station and buy Delta pens or what's the big one? Kratom right now.
I don't know what they are.
Oh, you don't know what Delta pens are?
Nah.
Delta's like Delta pen is essentially like I'm not a chemist.
Is it just like a vape or something?
Yeah, you can buy like a vape that's pretty much like THC, but it's like a molecule off or something, but it does the same effect.
Okay.
But it's legal because it's not the same technically as normal THC. And then kratom is basically an opiate.
Is this one of these things that are like currently unregulated in like an FDA type of sense thing, but it could be in the future?
It's not regulated.
So it's just like a legal loophole by the sounds of it.
100%. Yeah, you can buy it at the gas. That's what I'm saying is people can buy really just heavy drugs that they wanted to at a gas station. People are gonna do whatever they want to do, but
that's a mess.
Yeah, it is. It's a mess here. I don't know about where you're from, but
yeah, it's a mess here too. It's just given our relationship with Europe in the past, we're just a lot more. Well, we used to be a lot more stringent in how and where things are produced. We're kind of getting a bit bad though recently in some ways.
I also think before I was a physician, it was easier to judge. The reality is it's a medical condition, addiction. It's the way that your brain synapses and everything works. I mean, people think you can't be addicted to marijuana, but you absolutely can.
That's a fact.
100%. I mean, I don't know how people can say that you can't be addicted to marijuana, but then something like gambling addiction is a thing. You know what I mean? It makes no sense. Or being addicted to sex or porn. Like, obviously, anything that has to do with dopamine, you can become addicted to it.
The view that marijuana isn't addictive is just old propaganda. It's like really old. It's like an overcorrection because of the amount that they were fight. Like, put it this way, the way it was initially demonized, people who were actually pro it, like the hippies and all the other kinds of people, I think it was just a complete overcorrection in terms of combating propaganda against it. Where they started coming up with views of, oh, it's not addictive, like it cures your pain, like all this nonsense, which is majority pseudoscience, and like
No, I
poor
agree.
controlled studies was like a real overcorrection in terms of combating the stigmatization of it. I think that's what happened there.
So are you saying? I'm just reading your banner now. Smoking should be banned. I agree. Now, are you talking just marijuana or cigarettes?
Well, so initially, I set out to talk about the production and consumption of tobacco, but I noticed people are unable to separate the two, right? So whenever we're having a conversation about smoking tobacco products, it automatically creeps into cannabis, and then we have a conversation about cannabis consumption, and it automatically creeps into alcohol, etc., etc. But it seems to me most of the time that tobacco smokers are more inclined to smoke cannabis, and cannabis smokers are more inclined to smoke tobacco. So I just ended up having it in general.
Yeah, I mean, if I was the president of the United States, or if I could control it, I mean, I would agree that I think that smoking cigarettes, and I mean, I don't understand how cigarettes are legal. I really don't.
Yeah.
I mean, there's enough evidence to support that. And the thing is, people think of lung cancer as like, oh, that's why cigarettes. I don't even think that's why they should be illegal. It's not even the lung cancer. It's emphysema, COPD. I mean, like, even if you don't get cancer, your lungs get just absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
And
Life-changing
people think
diseases.
yeah. And people think if you quit smoking cigarettes that your lungs recover. That's not true at all. What happens is,
No,
so I'll explain it. So what happens is, I can't draw a graph, but you can fact check me if you want. I promise. Your lungs decline, all of us, even normally while you're healthy, while you age. You and I, as we get older, our lungs decline. If you smoke, your lungs decline way faster. The graph goes way steeper. If you stop smoking, all that happens is that decline evens out to a normal decline as you and I. It doesn't recover. It doesn't go up. It
Yeah.
never goes up. But it just declines at a normal rate now. So that's what happens.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I wouldn't say it's reversible. The damage is reversible. That's another kind of a little bit of a myth, put it that way. But yeah, you can put it this way: if you are someone who's currently like a chronic smoker, like you're overdoing it, the amount of like chest infections and snap, the amount of like chest infections and like breathing issues you will have while smoking will significantly decrease if you quit smoking. So it's not like a complete reversal, but it will definitely give you some life back.
Yeah, I mean, certainly people that smoke all the time and then they quit and they're like, oh, I'm breathing so much better. You know what I mean? They can exercise easier. It's not that the permanent damage they've done to the lungs is reversed. It's the fact is now they don't have all that chronic inflammation in their lungs and it's repaired. But like the scarring is still permanent is what I'm saying. But yeah, I'm on the hill that like alcohol is also way worse than anyone ever thinks. Like I think in the UK, in the US, the recommendation, which I don't know how there's a recommendation to have a day, but is 2 for males. I think it's now like 0 in the UK or something I was reading. But
I don't know. I haven't researched it yet.
But alcohol is so bad, so much worse for you than people realize. Whether it's pancreatitis or AFib or, esophageal stomach cancer, GI cancer, obesity. I mean, there's so many reasons that it's just fucking horrible.
Yeah, but so it's like that's centuries of fighting to do. Tobacco's already like a couple hundred years deep in terms of production, but alcohol is even further back. So it's so difficult to combat, but it's definitely worth trying to fight. But it's just, it doesn't have the same type of societal stigma currently. It's just too normalized.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But don't get me wrong, I'm in agreement.
Is vaping worse than smoking? People think vaping is worse than smoking, but it's not.
Yeah.
Vaping is healthier than smoking, but vaping is just horrible for you. It's still not healthy.
I think we're yet to discover the actual full like damage vaping's gonna do. I think we're still early days. It's only like in the last decade that it's become a popular thing. So I think we're still yet to figure out what the worst long-term effects are going to be.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you and I are on the same page then.
The idea of swapping out tobacco smoking for vaping is a really bad idea. As someone who tried when I tried to quit smoking cigarettes, it's not a good idea. But the things I've heard, like things like popcorn lung, things like strange chemicals in the vape, in the mixtures and stuff like that, and those potential damages, it's just. Look, I get, like, from a British perspective, apparently NHS is currently prescribing vape pens as a smoking cessation, like, package, right? So if they're saying it's okay, that gives some leeway to it. But I still think the history of lobbyists, like vested interest with our healthcare system is just too deep. Just like in America, the history of tobacco companies lobbying tobacco companies influencing doctors and lawyers and stuff to say this is healthy. I think we're just seeing the same thing happen with vapes. That's my
the thing
opinion.
is now, like back in the day, drug companies and tobacco, like they used to be able to give doctors a check for money and say, "Hey, do this." That's illegal now.
They
So it's
still
illegal
do.
now.
Yeah, it's illegal. Yeah.
But I promise you, like med reps come in all the time, and they take you to dinner and stuff like that, but they can't pay you. But
Directly, but they you can incentivize certain things. So
yeah, I like that goes down like the conspiracy path. But anyways,
not necessarily. That's just business, bro. It's just business.
Right. Well, it's not like I'd make any more money prescribing one drug versus the other. You know what I mean?
No,
You
yeah.
don't get paid at all anymore for that.
In that type of way, yeah, it might be conspiracy, but in terms of, let's not go down to it. You're right. Taking it down that road is not even necessary.
Yeah, but I think nicotine in general, like, is a lot worse for people. I mean, how I think about life is the aorta I have now is the same one that I'm going to have in 30 years. So I'd rather not use nicotine. And I mean, I quit nicotine, like, or all these different. So I even stopped taking ADHD medications when I was younger because all these different things impact your, cardiovascular health long term. So a lot of people don't think about this stuff though. They just say, "Oh, I'm young. Who cares?" And they smoke and they do all this other shit.
That's one of the reasons why I'm so adamant about it, because it would appear that the actual business model is to attack and attract young people into this lifelong damaging addiction. Like, you don't really, like,
100%.
it doesn't make sense, right? So put it this way, right? 80% of 1.3 billion smokers in the world start smoking before the age of 20 and are chemically dependent before the age of 18. Okay, so obviously the business model is, there's something happening there which makes it directed at children, essentially. Would it make sense for tobacco companies to say, "Oh no, like, we're literally just trying to sell to people 40 and over, 50 and over," when the reality of like, you can just watch back these streams of people I've spoken to and listen to the ages they tell you when they started using these substances. Okay, so this is like real world data collection. It's not just, there's some stuff study over there that says people are just smoking as teens. No, people are literally telling you right to your face, like, I started using these drugs, I started smoking tobacco at this age, so there's obviously something happening there which is directed at the kids.
No, I mean, you're 100% right. I mean, it's the same thing like fast food companies, with their toys and the colors. I mean, everything comes down to psychology, and the companies are very smart and deliberate in the way that they do these things. And most people that I talk to that are addicted to drugs are the same way. They start at a very young age. It's never, "Oh, I started in my 30s," ever.
It's rare.
It's always starting the teens.
It's like only 11% of people ever start smoking after the age of 25.
But I think smoking cigarettes, I mean, I don't meet a lot of young people that start smoking cigarettes anymore. At all. I think the big new problem is the Zyn and all that kind of stuff. But do you have a...
Is that like a vape as well?
It's an oral, it's just a nicotine pouch you put in your mouth.
Oh, okay. I think I've heard about those. I think people call them like snus or something like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, snus contains some tobacco still. The Zyns have pure nicotine, so it's just nicotine salt derived from the tobacco. But still, I mean, it shows no risk of cancer on the can, but obviously.
Well, I've heard that stuff can cause
good.
mouth cancer, but again, that could just be rumor. I don't know if it's true.
I don't know. I think like anything, if it causes constant irritation to the gums, then I would imagine it can. But I don't know. What other medical things have you talked about?
Well, I don't even talk about medical things in general.
Oh.
But obviously, considering what we're talking about and its health effects, we've covered some things.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about?
Nah, like wait, you said you tried substances. You don't currently use any.
No.
Can you share how you got off of the nicotine?
Yeah, I a lot of people say it's so hard to quit nicotine, and it's so, even like Vyvanse, for example. I was taking Vyvanse and nicotine.
I don't know what that
and
is.
Vyvanse is like Adderall, ADHD medication stimulant.
I've heard the name, but I actually don't know what it does.
Well, anyways, it was easy. I don't want to say it was. See, I told myself it wasn't that I wasn't going to use it anymore. I told myself I wasn't going to buy it anymore. So, the Zyn, I finished whatever I had left, my can, and then, like, it's a lot easier. Like when I was at work or something, like a lot of doctors use Zyn or whatever, nicotine pouches, and like it's nice, but I don't know. You just have to just decide. You just have to have a reason to quit, I guess. Like, I have a lot of patients who can't quit nicotine, and it's not even the nicotine itself, because the addiction to nicotine goes away after a couple days. The dependence, honestly, it's more so the habit of smoking. Like for me, it was like getting on my computer and playing a game or something, and having a glass of Diet Coke. Like I just would always throw Zyn in.
Oh,
That
so
was the habit.
You paired
It
it
was
with
more
other
so
habits.
Right, it's the habits that are hard to break instead of the nicotine itself. But you just have to have a strong reason why. I mean, I literally just 3 months ago just said I'm done using it. I just haven't used it since. And that was it.
Hey, congratulations, bro. I hope you managed to maintain that.
I mean, yeah, I just won't buy it anymore. It's not I don't know. I don't really miss it anymore.
Yeah, well, it was nice speaking to you, Jimmy, bro. I appreciate you for coming up.
Yeah, nice speaking to you.
Take it easy, my boy.
You too.
All right. So, anyone got a hot take that's just out there that I would like to hear, or they'd like to share, or an unpopular opinion? Anyone who's requesting, if you do have one of those, do feel free to put a 1 in the chat or something, so I know. So I would like to prioritize you. But let's go with whoever's first on the list. Hello.
What's up, man? What's up, Seth? When you say hot take,
I'm
what
good,
do you
bro.
mean? What you want? You want a disagreement?
Well, I might not disagree with it. I just want to hear an opinion that you think could change my mind about, or just something you think is not considered a lot.
I ain't can't lie. Cigarettes, bro. I'm 100% with you. Once I was told it was cigarettes, I'm 100% back to that. That is useless. I ain't gonna lie. That is useless. Now, if we was talking about some gas, you know what I'm saying?
So wait, is that your hot take? Is it concerning the main topic, or is it something else?
Nah, that's concerning the main topic. Yeah, cigarettes, you could bury those away. It's not useful at all.
Alright, so you want to talk about the main topic then? If you want to talk about cannabis or marijuana, then you want to talk about the main topic.
Oh, so that's the main topic, cannabis.
Well, yeah, smoking in general, isn't it? So it's kind of wrapped into it.
Okay, so as far as cigarettes go, yeah, throw that out the window. But weed, I don't know, because with that, it's a slippery slope. Some people need that for their nerves.
All right,
you know what I mean? Anxiety.
Before we get into that, then, right? Since you want to talk about the main subject, right? I've got to ask you a couple questions if you don't mind.
Right.
All right. So first question: you ever worked in or around the tobacco or cannabis industry?
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing what you did?
I mean, I worked at a gas station, so I was dealing out cigarettes a whole bunch. So, and
I guess
all cigarettes are different. You know what I mean? Long, shorts. You got different type of brands. They all give an effect for a person differently, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Some has a strong pull, some has a hurtful pull, a smooth pull.
Oh, you're talking about inhalation.
Yeah, the pull of it. So the effects of it work for different people.
All right. So next question for you: have you ever used either of those substances?
Nah, I smoked weed, but I never smoked a cigarette.
Do you mind showing what age you started using it?
I probably started smoking around, I want to say really early in my life, around like 8th grade, going into freshman year of high school. So I was smoking for a very very long time.
So what age would that have been? Because I have no like point of reference for that. I'm English.
So 8th grade, I want to say 13, 14.
Okay.
Because usually around here in the States, you start high school freshman year around 15, 16. So yeah,
Okay, cool.
it's not like very young.
So what is the main point you want to make then?
I mean, it varies for different people. You know what I mean? Like that's one thing I could say. Some, if you're an athlete, some is for the benefits of your body, just to calm you down. The certain anxiety attacks you might have after a fight. There's certain injuries you might be going through after a fight because it's
Are you saying anecdotally or are you saying medically proven? Because you realize weed can be a source of anxiety.
that can also two things can be true. See what I mean? It's how that affects the person. So it's like
Yeah,
when
just
I was
like
fighting.
chemically, right? When you smoke weed, it raises your heart rate and your blood pressure. So that's something that actually physically happens, and
I
that could
wouldn't
be.
say that because
Oh no,
I wouldn't say that.
this is a fact. Smoking weed raises your heart rate and your blood pressure. Now it might give you feelings of feeling relaxed. That's more psychological effect of the dopamine. It's something else.
Right.
There's another chemical that has to do with that as well, but it absolutely raises your blood pressure and your heart rate. So that can be a source of anxiety in itself. But that's not what I want to argue with you about, to be honest. But
Right.
you can
So
finish.
you so all right. So my point was I boxed. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I fucked up my hands. I wrestled. I fucked up my shoulder. I have all types of injuries. You know what I mean? So I can't say like the physical therapy aspect of the weed definitely contribute to my my rehab, if that makes sense.
I mean,
Because it made me more relaxed and it made me
so are you
more
talking about smoke? Are you
calm.
talking about smoking or like an extract of some kind?
No, I'm talking about smoking.
Yeah. So I think
Inhaling.
you could have got those relaxation feelings of relaxation from a CBD extract or a THC extract without smoking it. So it's not necessary that you smoke it to get that feeling.
Nah, that's true. Like I said, two things can be true. Because it's like you saying the CBD, but when I started smoking, like I said, I started smoking 13, 8th grade, going to freshman year. CBD wasn't a thing yet. See what I mean?
At least
So
like publicly, anyways.
yeah, it wasn't like a mainstream thing yet. Like weed didn't become legal over here until like actually until like I graduated. When they start opening the stores, when they start becoming more medicinal. You know what I mean?
I mean,
So
like as a boxer, you're in like double risk of brain health.
uh,
Yeah,
I think it just depends how you
like
take care of
double
yourself.
risk. Obviously, the job is to hit and not get hit, but you can't avoid that. So you're at like double risk of bad brain health long term. Now, if you was like like your career's behind you, like Tyson or Muhammad Ali, then yeah, do what you want, kind of thing. But you sound pretty bloody young, so
Yeah, but
it's kind
my
of
whole
risky.
thing. Yeah, but my whole thing is, would you rather take opioids or painkillers or smoke a joint? See what I'm saying?
Yeah, people have raised that point to me before, but I don't think it's relevant. Right? It's like there's this view that people have to choose between two evils or two poisons. You don't have to choose any poison, actually. You know. So
That is true. You don't have to choose at all, but
yeah, it's a false dichotomy. You don't have to choose between this poison or that poison. You can choose to be free of poison.
but sometimes meditation don't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Sometimes you need something else.
There are other things besides meditation. Like, put it this way, like, not to be too like philosophical, but meditation is something that's been bastardized by the West. Most people who reference meditation, who come from the Western world, have no understanding of what it was intended for or what it even is. You know, so there are ways to manage your stress. Like just simply learning how to breathe can manage your stress. Like learning how to think can manage your stress without
Yeah.
external substances.
So you live in the States, or you still?
I
Where
live
you
in the
from?
UK, bro.
Right. So see, you're speaking from. It's a different culture over there from where you speak from. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
It's a way
acknowledge that.
different culture. So it's the stress of over here as an athlete or just as a fuck, because police officers in New Jersey right now, they're they can smoke, like they can
Okay.
smoke pot, because they go through this overwhelming thing of stress, and they want to limit cops from drinking because drinking is a more aggressive behavior
That's
than
the same
smoking.
problem though. Although I'm in
Smoking a blunt.
agreement, drinking is definitely dangerous, and there's like the archetypal story of police officers getting drunk, going home and beating up their family, or beating up criminals and shit. Right? That is like an archetypal kind of story. But I think it's the same problem that you raised earlier on. Would you rather this poison or that poison? Like the idea is to remove the poison in general, and address the issues that are causing the stress. That's the real goal.
I understand that, but when you remove something that's been here for so long, then you create another problem. You see what I'm saying? You create
Like
another
what?
problem because you got to think about all the people that are relying on it
Hmm.
and all the people that need it for something. Because
Yeah, you
some
gotta
of
help
this
them.
weed, yeah, but some of this weed is for some people's health. You see what I'm saying?
No, I don't. That's
Yes.
not actually true. Like you just heard me speaking to that doctor, right? There's a clear line in the sand between recreational use, which basically is chemical dependence, like it's addiction, and medicinal use. There's so like claiming recreational smoking weed is for health is nonsense. That literally damages your health. Okay, so that's nonsense. It's people just conflating.
Again, bro, it like you said, it's the two evils, but it's the options that you're given over here. You know what I
No,
mean?
that's cap, bro.
The
That's
options,
cap.
bro.
Stop that, man. Stop that. That's cap,
Like
bro.
I'm not gonna like if I get shot, right?
Yeah,
And my
you gotta
doctor,
want some painkillers. I tell you that.
but that's what I'm saying.
You
That's
might,
how
yeah. Yeah, but
that's
your
how
first thought ain't
addiction
gonna be, yeah,
started.
hey, someone call the weed man. Johnny's bleeding out. Like, no,
Nah, but what I'm
no.
saying is,
It's like,
but you know what I'm saying though. After the hospital, they patch you up. You still have that lingering pain. Like you don't want to
yeah,
sit there. You don't want to sit there and have to, because you can put down weed. It's not like you
no.
can. It's not like an addicting
You
drug.
can, but you
It's
need
not an
help.
addicting
Yeah,
drug.
it is an
You know what I'm
addictive
saying?
drug. We literally just spoke about that.
Ah,
We
I
literally
don't
just
think it's
spoke with a physician about it. It's an addictive drug, right?
it's not addicting, bro.
So I'll explain to you
It's not. I
how
think
it's addictive.
addiction to me, and this is my opinion. Addiction, addiction is just. It's just not. You're just low will. It's
No,
low will people. Like
yes, in a way, but it's not. You can't just reduce it to willpower. Willpower is a part of it. Like the character, background, trauma, all those things are a part of it, right? But
exactly.
the chemical itself is addictive, right? Because of what it does to the body. Just why it's called chemical dependency. Because you depend on it, right? Once it's introduced to your system, you build not resilience to it, but you build a tolerance to it, right? And you become accustomed to it. What it actually does is, I think it's called the cannabinoids, interact with your endocannabinoid system, which is a part of your body, which is responsible for producing dopamine and reward sensations and stuff like that. You basically build a tolerance to the exogenous, meaning coming from outside of your body, use of the. All right, so let me start doing science speak, right? So when you use marijuana, right, you build a tolerance to it, right? Which is what the THC does to your brain, right? The interaction of you using marijuana, it it artificially boosts dopamine in your body, and it makes your body stop producing dopamine. So that's where the addiction forms, right? You now rely on the chemical substance to be able to feel a normal standard of existence. And then the more you build a resilience to the actual marijuana or the quality of the THC, is the higher quality THC you need in order to feel high or to feel happy. Okay, so that's the addictive part of it. I know maybe it was a bit too
Uh,
wordy with it.
I get what you're saying, but I just I'm going off my life. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not going off statistics. Like I'm just
No,
going
it's
off
just
my
it's
life
that's
because
just science, bro. That's just what
no.
it
I mean,
is.
I'm not going off like the science. Like I'm just going off my life because I experienced what it did for me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying like
Yeah,
I'm a.
people say
I'm not
Jesus did
saying
nice things for them too, but no one could prove Jesus ever.
nah. I'm not saying
Anyways,
he
look.
did nice things, but listen, like it's just I seen what it could do for people, and I seen what it could do to people. You see what I'm saying? Like it's two different things. I see what it could do for a person, and I can see what it can do to a person. You
Yeah,
see what I'm
I
saying?
agree, right?
So
So
it's
look,
like,
look, addiction is one thing that's completely separate from the substance, but then substance addiction is like a demon on steroids. Okay, if addiction on its own, like addiction to games, this addiction to gambling, pornography, etc., is bad. Now introduce a substance that chemically changes your body, then you got like a whole different beast on your hands. That substance part is the objective part of it. You know, so you could say, oh, I'm fine. Like, it's like, right, so when people make this like anecdotal or subjective view, it's like, well, I use it and I'm fine, right? Yeah, well, somebody somewhere fell off a 12-story building and is alive today, but not everybody that's jumped off a 12-story building is alive today. Okay,
that's a fact.
right, so
Fact.
not to completely rule out the anecdotal stories, but I'm just saying you shouldn't set your standard of that anecdote. Okay, it's just like, oh yeah, Elon Musk's a billionaire, so I could become a billionaire. Probably not. Okay, so it's just view it like that.
But, but again, with this weed shit, I think it's a slippery slope. So
Oh
I
yeah,
think it's pros and cons to everything. It's just what you want to deal with.
I agree, right? But I've examined the pros and cons of this particular thing, and the cons outweigh the pros in every single way, like economic wise, health wise, legal outcomes, social outcomes. The cons outweigh the pros. So it's just whether you're informed or not. It's the problem.
I mean, I never seen a riot. I never seen a riot full of pot smokers.
I don't think that's true. You think pot smokers ain't been to a riot?
I said I've never seen a riot full of pot smokers.
You probably have. How would you know? How would you know? Like, what are you talking about? How the hell would you know?
Bro, I'm in the States.
You say civil unarrested? That's how they say it. It doesn't come with drug consumption, right? Any peace protest I've ever been to, there was weed smoke. Like, I don't know. Not that I've been to many.
Look, I went to New York, right? When they just won the finals. You feel what I'm saying? They just won the finals. It's literally 2 million people in this little ass city. There's a whole banquet of people smoking, right? This is just an example. There's a whole banquet. Let's just say 150,000 people is just smoking. Now you leave that section.
I don't know why I was thinking of like a dinner party, but
no, because when teams and states win chips, they're big ass parades. So in New York, they didn't win a championship in 50-something years. So it was the biggest parade ever, pretty much.
Okay.
So say you leave that section of 150 people, and then you go into a section of another 150 people. They're aggressively drunk as fuck.
Oh, bro, I know, bro. Like,
as fuck.
You should learn about football culture, or like, learn about English football, like the real football culture, right? So,
I know y'all get down in the
I'm aware of the link between alcoholism and violence. Like, there's no doubt about it, but
so it's like
that's a bad argument. It's like it's the extreme in the opposite direction of what we just said about the person dropping off a building. It's an extreme.
When I feel like, well, personally, from what I've seen, when there's conflict around pot smokers, we disperse. We don't like to sit in.
What are you talking about? Do you think no one's ever been shot by someone that was high? Do you think no one's ever been killed by someone that was high?
I don't think they were
or
high
no? Yes, of course they were. Like, if it's casually consumed, right? Look, so there's a difference between saying this is a factor in an action and it's the cause of an action. I would agree. Being high is unlikely the direct cause of the murder unless it's some kind of like drug deal gone wrong, but it's a factor in the action. This is what it does, right? It damages your prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for your decision making and like your executive functions. Okay, so it's like when you're in a state of being high, right? You're mentally impaired, which leads you to making bad decisions. Okay, now you may be safe. No, if you're just like brother. It's a fact. If you're just like chilling in your bedroom, playing a PlayStation with your mates, and you're like high, right? You're in a safer space than you being behind the wheel of a vehicle, or being in a dangerous high tension situation, or highly induced paranoia making you gun somebody down, or be scared to get gunned down, right?
No, brother, that's not
listen,
how
brother.
Works, brother.
How can you tell me I know, right?
Brother,
Listen.
I smoke, brother.
Yeah, I've smoked before too, right? What I'm trying to say to you is no, I agree, right? Alcohol is a direct fuel of violence, but the comparison is like a red herring. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But it's also a fact that people who have done crimes have been high while doing crimes, right? That's just an absolute fact, okay? Like, not to be, look, from white collar crime all the way down to like street level crime, people who are high are more inclined to do drugs, right? Just like the statistics, not to get all like Charlie Kirk here, but just like the statistics of people who live in lower income or social decline, basically, right? A lower working class, better said, right, are 3 to 4 times more likely to use the substances. This also plays into the crime found in the areas, right? The socioeconomic factors push you to the drugs. The drugs keep you in a socioeconomic situation. So for all the various different gangs that might be out there, or all the various different white collar criminals who might be out there, they're more inclined socially, statistically, to be on drugs while making these decisions, okay? That's all I'm trying to say. Now, am I saying the drugs are the cause of the decisions? Not necessarily, but they influence the decisions. Okay. You still there, bro?
I get what you said. I'm helping my wife.
You're gonna say like a guy's never been high while doing a drive-by? Of course he has. Like, what did you read?
Yeah, but that's not off of weed though, brother.
Of course he was. Like how many gang members are smoking weed right now before they go and do a drill? Right. How many?
No, bro.
Exactly. I don't want to phrase. I don't know. I'm not talking about movies. I'm talking about real lived council estate experiences. Okay.
No.
Look, what I'm trying to say to you is I don't want to frame it like that either. But the reality is comparing it to alcohol or comparing it to crack or cocaine is pointless, right? They're different topics altogether. Do you know?
Yeah. But when you talk about drills and going to commit a crime and you put that in the same instance, usually them people was on perks,
Nah,
crazy shit.
no, I
That
say
really fucks up your mind.
yeah, possibly they may be on other substances too, possibly, but I just say that just to demonstrate. Look, it's a type of propaganda that makes weed look like this innocent drug, like no one has ever done anything bad on weed. Yes, they have, right? I just be honest, like, okay, that's all. That's the only reason why I would point that out. Right? Yes, people have done bad things while being under the influence of marijuana. It's just a fact, okay? You could go and do like a fucking wildlife study for yourself and see. Okay.
Brother, I live in the States, so there's a wildlife study every day.
Nah, bro. Well, if you should know what I'm saying then, right?
Every day,
You
brother.
should know what I'm saying. Like, you saying no one's ever been smoking a spliff or a blunt and decided, I don't like the way you're looking at me, right? To do it, right?
No.
That is just. Anyways, look, we're getting into a really weird place. It's been 20 minutes. Last question for you, right? Do you have any plans of quitting in the future?
I mean, I stopped multiple times. And I stopped on like years on end.
So
Like, I always
that's a
go
sign.
back to it.
That's a sign of addiction. You don't know. That's like one of the
No,
biggest
I
signs.
stopped on years on end.
Yes.
That's an addiction. I stopped years.
Right. So one of the criteria for something to be considered like a very strong or difficult addiction is that people want to quit but they are unable to, or quit and end up using again. That's a big sign of actual addiction. Okay. It's like one
But
of
I
the
ain't said I
qualifiers.
quit.
You just
But I never
did.
said I quit.
You said I
said
quit a couple times. Oh,
No,
it's,
I said I stopped.
oh, come on, man. Semantic.
That's
Semantic.
not quitting, brother.
Semantic.
That's taking a break. That's taking the break, brother.
Yeah, bro. That's like, oh my gosh, man. It's like, yeah, let me stop smoking crack so next time I smoke crack, it's more powerful. It's like, that is addiction, fam. Like,
Nah, brother.
alright, anyways.
Because if I was fiending for it
You were.
during those times I stopped, then it's like,
You were.
okay, now that's an addiction.
You
But
were.
it's like,
You probably stopped because you couldn't afford the habit or you couldn't obtain it. That's probably why.
nah,
Nah, I'm
I'm
playing,
not
right?
bored with it.
I'm playing, right? Don't
He's
take
not
that
bored.
personally.
He's just smoking every day.
But do you intend to
Nah,
quit
I'm-
in the future?
I don't fuck.
Do you intend to quit in the
No.
future? No. Well, I hope you can someday, bro. Because I'd hate to see you destroy your life. Hey, that being said, the point I wanted to raise earlier on, right? No, the point I wanted to raise, I know it's kind of dread, right? I take it back. But the point I wanted to raise earlier on, where you talked about the fact that you was a sportsman, right? It made me actually think back to my teenage years and how many people that could have been incredible footballers but ended up smoking weed and they just effed it all up, right? People who were like signed to young football teams, like Premier League teams, who ended up smoking weed and just fucked their whole career up. Sportsmen shouldn't smoke, right? They should be like the bastion of health, right? And they should make kids see that.
So you don't think
Sportsmen
Pogba
should
smokes?
never smoke. Sportsmen should not smoke, bro. They should not, okay? They're supposed
Why
to,
not?
like, societally, they're supposed to represent the pinnacle of health or physical prowess. To smoke is actually a contradiction to that, okay? For instance, a sport like boxing, stamina is one of the main requirements. What damages stamina? Your respiratory system is what allows your stamina to be high, right? Smoking damages your stamina, okay? So it's contradictory to your actual goals.
But I wouldn't say that because
Same thing with
yes,
football.
Yes, one of the
Don't
craziest.
don't use these anecdotes. Somebody jumped off a 12-story building and survived, right? Should you jump off the 12-story building and survive? Better question for you. How do you know how small the percentages of people who actually are able to make a career out of any sport and get paid for it? It's very small, exactly, right? So you're looking at the minority, right, not even really the top of the pyramid. People like Nate Diaz, like people who exist in the UFC and in boxing that we look at as like, look at this big name. They're exceptions. In the totality of all the sportsmen in the world, they're the exceptionals, right? And they may not even be the best. They just manage to get the cut through or the popularity from it. Now, if you think about the politics that surround people who fight in the UFC, their politic isn't good, right? Look at the politic of Joe Rogan. Look at the politic of a fucking Dana White, right? The Snoop Dogg's, I love Mike Tyson, the greatest boxer of all time to me, but his politic post his actual fighting career is bad. So they wouldn't be a good point of reference for a kid who aspires to be an athlete. Right?
But that's not what the kid sees, though. The kid would have to be told that. You
Yes,
know what I'm saying?
that's a
The
part
kid
of
would
changing
have to-
society.
But the kid will have to be told something like that. A kid will take the face value of what they see from their heroes or what they do in their film.
Right, but if you look at that,
a person will have to tell him, "Oh yeah, you know he a crackhead, right?" Like a person will have to tell that kid that. You see what I'm saying?
no, not necessarily, right? For instance, a kid sees Floyd Mayweather, right? They might see Floyd Mayweather drinking, but they're not going to see Floyd Mayweather smoking.
But he don't drink or smoke.
Well, there you go, right?
But that's just one instance.
There you go,
Like,
right? But is he not undefeated, considered one of the best of all time?
okay.
Right? Kids
And
may
he's
see
undefeated?
Tank's dope as well, right? Tank is incredibly dope, right? But he does have a lot of legal problems that surround him. Right?
Yeah, but he smokes.
Should he though? As a boxer, is what I'm saying to you.
But that's what I'm saying. When you're an athlete, because
It would be contradictory to Tank's goals of being a boxer.
No, because
Look at
I
Adrian
watched-
Broner.
Look, I watched Tank. I watched Tank through the. This some real shit though. I'm a piece of game. I watched Tank in the amateurs, right? He didn't fight how he fought now. You see what I'm saying? He fought like a heavyweight. I watched him go toe to toe with this kid named Hammerhands in Passaic, New Jersey, right? Like bloody fight. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you can tell early off in his career how he fought. He might become punch struck. He might become concussed. You see what I'm saying?
Perhaps, but the
So
point though, Tank may not have necessarily been smoking while he was coming up during his training times, right? That's what I'm trying to say to you. At the point where you see Tank now, he's the top 1% of boxing, even if he never boxes again.
Now he was smoking in the amateurs though.
You reckon? You reckon?
Yeah, bro.
How do you know for certain though?
Bro,
How
it
do-
was a record. Though,
Okay,
bro.
now you're capping. All right, now you're capping.
No, I'm not.
All
Now
right.
you're not. Look,
All right,
I can
so-
tell you where look, I can tell you
Look,
where
no,
I
you
watched
don't,
that.
you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that, right? You don't have to do that, right? Just from a straight up point of view, a worldly or universal point of view, it would be contradictory for a sportsman whose primary concern is physical prowess in order to win to do something that damages the opportunity for him to become that sportsman. Right? I'm sure we could agree.
I don't think weed is that though.
If it's damaging your respiratory system, which is going to F up your stamina, then it's contradictory to your life goals as a sportsman.
I don't think
if you wanted to
because
relax,
working
if you
out,
wanted to
bro,
relax
it's like-
after, yeah, you could just use an extract, which people do.
I wouldn't say it will affect people that's not athletic, that's not moving around, that's not doing nothing. If you're actively if you're an active person and you're actively working out, like if you're an
Right.
athlete and you're like moving into your profession and you're constantly going to the gym,
You can't
I don't
out-train it
think
though.
it doesn't have that effect for real, bro.
Of course it does. It's a biological effect, right? It's like as a bodybuilder, you can't out-train a bad diet, right? As an athlete, a boxer or a bike rider or a footballer, you can't out-train damage to your lungs. The scarring of your tissues isn't something 100 or a million hours skipping or boxing can undo. It's biological on the inside of you, right? There's no amount of training that can combat that. The only way to avoid that is not inhaling smoke in the first place.
I see what you saying. with that.
You can't out-train that, okay? At least at least in the food aspect, you can get
It's like,
clean
how
and
can
start
you
eating better. But
how can
with
you
with
explain
with
Michael
respiratory
Phelps?
damage, I don't really know about Michael Phelps or that. But again, you're picking like
But these are top
You're
one
picking-
athletes that smoke.
right, but
bro.
you're picking exceptions to the rules. My point of view to you is this: as an athlete and as kids watching athletes, right? It would be bizarre, it'd be stupid to say if you want to be a top 1% athlete, do drugs, right?
No,
That would be the message.
But you keep saying do drugs.
No, but that is the
That's
message you're
problem.
saying. You're saying, hey, look at this person in this position. They do drugs, so I should. That's exactly your
You
reasoning.
keep saying do drugs.
It is a
That's
drug.
totally different than bro.
It's a drug.
Please, bro.
It's a drug. What are you talking about?
But when
What are you
say
talking
drugs,
about?
But you know the word drug has a negative. It's
Because it
negative.
is, and it's
Exactly.
supposed to. It's supposed to, right? But think about it like this, right? A kid that's like 12 or 13 right now, they're in school or about to go into high school, right? They got a decision whether they're going to prioritize this talent or their education, and something comes and knocks them off of that road, e.g. a drug dependency. Not every kid is going to be able to recover from that or keep the drug dependency and still become who they were intended to be, or at least who they had the capacity to be. So saying, oh look, Michael Phelps smokes weed, Nate Diaz smokes weed, Tank smokes weed, Mike Tyson smokes weed, you can do it too, is dumb. They've already reached the heights of status that you even know their name to be able to say, look what they do. Right? If you start trying to be like Mike Tyson at the end of his career, you'll never be Mike Tyson at the beginning of his career, or Floyd Mayweather, or you name them, right? If you think you can just do what they do now while they're at the end of their road, right? They're on their like 100th, whatever. You're on your day one. You can't do what the guy on day 100 is doing. That's what I'm saying to you. That's the problem of the influence that you're showing. You're saying, oh, they do it, so I can do it. You're not them.
But what I'm saying is, all right, it's just it's scenario and circumstance, bro. Like when it comes to it, it just depends what you're doing and where you are in your life. You see what I'm saying?
I disagree.
That's what it is, bro.
Nah,
Like
I
it's
think
not about it's not about being broke, poor, or nothing. It's just
Of course it
depends
is.
on your-
Of course it
Nah,
is.
It's not about,
Bro,
it's not about
it's
none
like-
of that, bro.
I don't
You
know.
would be
I don't
rich
know,
as
like
fuck, got
what,
everything in life and still want to hit that
bro.
blunt, bro.
At a certain point, you're gonna go to college or uni or whatever, and they're gonna make you study. I think it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? People who walk through life with those needs met don't end up abusing substances or even needing to use substances once your actual needs are met. Okay. It's not a normal thing, and us speaking about it like this creates space for it to be normalized, which is the dysfunction. You shouldn't need, like, bro, I'm telling you, okay, you don't want to normalize it through the view of just a little bit, like moderation. No, right? You're opening that door for ultimately your own destruction and then the destruction of the people that you influence.
Well, that depends on the person, bro. Because there's functional crackheads out here, bro.
But is that
There's
what?
functional
But is that what
crackheads,
you
bro.
want?
I'm not saying that's the world. It's not what the person wants.
So
It's just
if you
the
could
world,
help,
bro.
so that's what I'm saying. So if you could help that not be the case, wouldn't you?
No.
You
Why
wouldn't.
would I help that? Because
So
that
if you
person- because if that
no, I
person's
think
a
you
functional
misunderstand. I think
crackhead,
you misunderstand.
He's a CEO, bro. Like I'm not.
No,
what
you
can I
don't.
tell a person
You
that's a
don't want
functional
that. That's what I'm
crackhead
saying. You
CEO?
don't want that. You don't want the psychopaths and the sociopaths running the world, right? It's what I'm saying to you. All right, I'll simplify it. All right. There was two buttons in front of you. one saves 8 million lives a year, and one kills 8 million lives a year. Which is the most reasonable button to push?
Depend where you at in your life, bro. You might say fuck the world, bro. Like you might say,
So I ask you again, which is the most reasonable button to push?
I mean, save the people, obviously.
So what is the
But
reason?
shit-
What is the reason you would decide to save the people, though?
Whatever the reason it is.
No, I'm asking
Whatever
you
that person's
personally.
reason is.
I'm asking you personally. If the two buttons were in front of you, right? Yeah, and you had a
People
choice.
got families.
All right,
People
so
got families,
so you've
bro.
got reasons.
That's disrupting the home, bro.
So you've got reasons.
saying?
You've got reasons
Yeah.
that you would save 8 million lives, right? The same applies
Yeah.
here.
Nah, son.
It does.
Because again, brother, like I said, there's functional crackheads out here that own
Yes.
businesses.
And I said to you,
So-
you'd want to help them, right? They would be included
No,
in that 8
why would I
million.
help them?
Why would you want them to be that way?
Because me helping them, because look, without my help, they show what they could do without a rehab or whatever help anybody could offer. They made it on their own, but what they're
Yes,
doing.
it's not a good
So
thing.
Why would
Right,
I
so-
stop what the fuck they got going?
So do you think dysfunction just stays isolated to one place and it doesn't spread to other areas?
No, that shit trickles down through a whole family.
So why
You
would
know
you
what
want
I'm saying?
more of that in the world? That's what I'm trying to ask you. Right?
It's
If
not
you could,
about what-
if you could help that not be the case, wouldn't that be the reasonable thing to do?
But it's not, bro. If that person owns a business and he's doing what that
Who
person's doing what
cares?
they're supposed to do, bro.
Reducing
Why am I going to tell a
humanity
person
to a
do what they're supposed to
transactional,
do?
like, oh, this guy makes money, right? Forget about his humanity. Forget about his body rotting from the inside. Forget about his children suffering and his friends, his family, his community.
Bro.
He generates money. Like, is that the world that you want to live in?
Bro, if he's doing what he's supposed to do for his family, bro, what am I to say to that man, bro?
Fam,
or that female?
that is a effed up way to live, bro. It has a
That's real
right.
though.
It has a knock-on
That's
effect,
real.
right? I'll
Did
try
you
to.
help that
I'll
crackhead today that came to you when you went to
yeah,
the store?
yeah, because he was on the TikTok when he was speaking to me, and I explained to him, bro, you're on crack, right? And he just didn't realize he was on crack. Okay, so yes, I did. I tried my best, right? But I'll give you. I'll analogize what I'm trying to say to you, okay? But try to track what I'm going to say, right? So there's an old poem, basically, and it's like there's a bunch of people who live in a village, and every day, like they're all neighbors, like they're door to door to door, and every day a group of men pull up, or every night a group of men pull up, and they kidnap a family, right? And all the neighbors look out the window and they watch the family being kidnapped, and they all say to themselves, well, at least it's not me, right? And they just go back in their yard. Yeah, they just go back in their yard and they're like, oh well, like number 10 got kidnapped today, and then number 12's like, oh yeah, that's sad, right? But every night the people pull up and they kidnap another family, right? And then eventually there's only one family left on the block, right? And then someone knocks their door. Okay? So what is the moral of that story?
I don't know. You lost me.
All right,
Hurry up
so
and move out that motherfucker.
nah, it's if nobody speaks up, then everybody suffers eventually. And when it's your time for someone to speak up for you, there will be nobody. That's the point I'm making to you. That's the
I
world
don't
that you're.
believe- see, I
That's
don't
a
believe that,
reality. No,
I
it's
don't
a
believe that,
reality.
though,
All right, so if
brother.
you're saying it's okay for the crackhead to go and just continue to be dysfunctional and be addicted to the substance, you're saying it's okay for basically the system at large to knock on the door at night and kidnap the family. That's what you're saying, right? It's the same communal or
Kidnapping the family and being a fiend is two different things, brother.
no, it isn't. You're robbing
They don't
you're robbing
coexist.
children
They are
of functional
the same
parents.
thing, brother.
Right? You're robbing your society of a functional member. It's an analogy for a point, okay?
Listen though, brother. If you go to a store and you see a fiend, right, and he says, "Can I have $1?"
Mhm.
Do you give him that dollar?
It
Or do
depends.
you walk away?
It really-
Because if
it
you
really
give him that
depends.
dollar- hold on, because if you give him that dollar, you don't know what he's gonna do with that dollar. You don't know how many other dollars he got to go get his fix. You
Facts.
see what I'm saying? So you're contributing to the problem. You see
But
what
like I
mean?
said, it depends,
So how
right?
can you
We-
even help that shit?
That's
You
not
see what I'm
alright. So
saying?
that's not necessarily true, right? But we're living in a world where like people with addictions are more blatant and brazen than ever. Right? People will say, "Actually, I'm aware of your substance abuse issue. I'll buy you some food. I'll put you up in a place tonight." And like addicts are saying to them straight in the face, "No, right? I don't want that. I want the money so I can buy the drug." At that point, right, the person who was being asked for help is well within their rights to say, "No, I'm not helping you with more self-destruction." Okay. That's what I'm saying to you. That at the point where you decide not to help them, right? that would be analogous to speaking up about the kidnapping of the neighbor, right? At the point in which you just like, here, yeah, buy some more crack, right? You're just ignoring the problem in society, therefore waiting until it reaches you, right?
So alright, so now you tell this fiend no. Now you're enabling this fiend though. You see what I'm saying?
What,
Now
by
this
saying
fiend-
no?
Yes, bro. Because
How?
they all fiends feel entitled, bro.
Well, yeah,
That's why
to an
they're in
extent.
that's why they're in the situation they're in. So now you enable
Look,
this
to say
fiend to
that
be like,
a
you know
blank
what?
in blanket terms, no, not necessarily, right? Not everyone
But-
is just a bad character.
but-
right? It's not
But
necessarily true.
now you enable this fiend to be like, fuck it. I'm about to go rob somebody. Nobody don't want to give me a fucking $1. I'm about to rob a motherfucker for $1. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying?
But
So
yes,
it's like-
so though your interaction may have some influence on that, the reality of that situation is out of your control completely.
Is
Okay.
it though? Because
Yeah.
you could have gave him the $1.
Or you could not have interacted with him at all that day, and he may have still made that decision. So that's not something you can know. It's counterfactual. Right? But in terms of your direct interaction with that person who is struggling, you get to make a decision then and there what it is you're going to do. Are you going to try and buy them some food or some water? Or are you going to know that they're going to use the $1 for crack and still give it to them? It's your choice to make at that point. But yes, like, we've gone down a really weird road. It was supposed to end ages ago. It's like 38 minutes. I hope in the future, all right, you can get your head in your sports and, like, concern yourself with your health more. But if not, still good luck to you, bro.
Alright, brother. You be easy, brother.
All right, take care. God damn. I accepted someone. I definitely have a connection. I don't think so. That went in such a weird place. Like. Yeah, I don't think these people are in the chat to accept the request. But anyways, I would like to hear some hot takes, some unpopular opinions, rather than the same drilling the same subject down. I think this person connected? Or is it my connection? Bill Bixby, if you're out there listening, bro, what's going on with you? Yeah, something wrong with that. Huh? Oh yeah, he drops. Cool. Alright, who isn't being intellectually honest? Wisems. He's saying I weren't being intellectually honest. Where did I go wrong? Yeah, extend. Right. So, prohibition is an interesting case study, right? But it's not actually proof that prohibitions don't work. The reasons why, specifically American prohibition of alcohol, there's a couple things that people just neglect to mention about the history of it. The first reason is why prohibition was rolled out initially. It was a religious or Christian experiment of the people who were governing at the time. I remember who was in power. So the reasons for rolling it out were like ideologically unsound initially. The second thing was they had 1,500 federal agents to police the entirety of the United States population. That's millions of people. Ridiculous, okay? The third issue with prohibition, you could still legally get alcohol, and the ways people got it legally was you could get it prescribed, e.g. whiskey prescribed by a doctor for things like anxiety and pain relief, in the same way weed is getting prescribed by doctors, right? You could also get alcohol for religious sacrament, meaning for religious purposes like communion, right? You could also get alcohol for production, like industrial production. So there were legal loopholes to obtain alcohol. And then there was the conflict of interest. The police officers themselves were already drinking and quite heavily associated with alcohol. So they didn't police it, and the federal agents were unable to police millions of people. Then you had the conflict of interest with the bootleggers, right? How much people were already running moonshine and how that became a bigger market. Well, let's not call that a conflict of interest, but it was an issue. The other two things people don't mention: the Great Depression was what was happening towards the end of, well, I'd say about the 30s, right? And then the beginning of World War II. So economically, America was in an effed up place already. Alcohol was one of their biggest markets, right? So they needed it to come back economically, and they also needed it to come back to buttress what was about to happen in World War II. So all of those things considered, prohibition is an important like case study to learn from, but it doesn't demonstrate that prohibitions don't work. Right? If anything, it just highlights the faults in how it was implemented back then. That's the problem. So yeah, organised crime is already responsible for like 11.25% of all cigarettes smoked in 2026. Organised crime is already responsible for 25% of all alcohol consumed in 2026. That's why black markets are called parallel markets. They already exist. Well, I can't read all the comments, but you could have requested up. Hello?
Yeah, my bad. Let me turn the TV down right quick.
Oh, cool.
Why you think smoking is bad? Like, what type of smoking? Cigarettes or like just in general?
Well, I was going to ask you what you want to talk about, but obviously you want to talk about smoking. So,
Oh yeah, you play games too?
so a couple of
Is
questions.
that
for
you
you.
playing the game or you just watching that?
It's me, right? So a couple of
No
questions.
Yep.
Have you ever worked in or around the tobacco industry or cannabis industry,
Working in it?
or around it, like you're affiliated in some kind of way?
I smoke it?
And that's a secondary question. I'll ask you that after. But have you ever worked in or around the tobacco or cannabis industries?
No.
Right, do you consume any of those products?
Yep.
Do you mind sharing what age you started consuming them?
Like 13?
Cool. Right, so what do you want to ask?
No, I don't got nothing to ask. But do you think it's just bad? It needs to go away?
Yeah, I think the cons outweigh the pros. So I think
Well, I mean, there's a lot of cultural
it's
parts.
considered a health epidemic at this point.
I mean, yeah, it could be considered that. But what about, I mean, tobacco has been grown for forever. It's a plant that was put on earth by God.
Well, I disagree
you
with that
believe in
part. It's definitely been around for a long time, like as all plants have. I agree there.
Right.
But
I mean, if
not-
you
it's
just
not
so
pour the
happen to
sauce on
set
it.
it on fire, you know, it just so happens to have some effects.
yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Yeah, of course, setting it on fire has some
In a
effects.
broad sense,
But-
for sure.
Yeah, let's not reduce the modern context of how it's consumed to, just I accidentally just tripped and slipped and set this on fire. I yeah, let's not do that. Like, so that might, our ancestors might have discovered it like that, but that is not its use.
Right. But I don't think it's bad. It can definitely
Okay.
be abused and misused for sure. And
So-
bad things can come of it. But if it was
Which one are you speaking
fully
about
legal-
specifically? Tobacco or cannabis?
both. The
Right.
thing is, if both were taught, if everything was taught and shown and everything was explained in school, here's what this does, this is what this actually does, and there was like knowledge about it instead of having to go seek it out yourself,
Hmm.
I feel like there'd be a lot less people vaping. Like if I had, like if that was in
So-
school,
Well, yeah, I'm in
I probably
agreement.
wouldn't do
Education should be definitely more available or more accessible, right? It shouldn't be done in a preachy way, because that's just who wants to listen to that?
well, I mean, the DARE program did it. And I mean,
Well, I'm from England. I don't really know much about it. Right?
okay,
So,
the DARE program is an American thing,
Hmm.
and it's like, I don't know, it's just tell kids not to do drugs.
yeah, so the idea is in the right place. Like, like your heart's in the right place, but your strategy is what's most important. How you do it, how you pull it off, how you go about doing it.
I mean, Australia did a really good job by just taxing the shit out of everybody.
That's part of our strategy too, also. But before we get there,
Like
right?
it's like $30 for a pack of cigs over there, dude. It's ridiculous.
That's good, right? But before we
No,
get
but
there,
in Japan it's like $4.
before we get
Smoke
there,
anywhere and everywhere. The tobacco-
yeah. So, anyways, right? You made the statement that they're not bad, right? And I want to know how you arrived at the conclusion that they're not bad.
Well, I mean, it's a choice to do it, and what is bad and good is really just up to the person doing that thing. I mean, that might have negative effects, but it's not necessarily a bad thing if somebody wants to do it.
Okay.
It's a choice in itself.
So you're speaking about the person's ability to make choices, but the substance
Yeah.
itself, or why isn't it bad?
Well, yeah, the substance itself is bad. I didn't say that. I'm just saying doing
You
it.
did.
Right?
Well, so you're
Yeah.
aware it's bad then?
You know what I mean?
Or is it? It's like it is. It's just a contradictory kind of view. Right? You know it's bad.
It's half and half. Nicotine exists in like vegetables. You eat it every day.
I didn't know that.
You actually have nicotine receptors in almost all of your body.
Okay.
So it's an essential part of your life. And tobacco just has a really high concentration of it, and that's why we can actually feel the effects of it.
But
We have
that,
these
the
receptors
the
to feel
issue
these substances.
the issue isn't necessarily the nicotine. It's the way you
Right.
consume it. Right. That's the dangerous
I
part.
mean,
You can get nicotine extract, which people do. Okay. and it's-
nicotine extract, like the powder? I
So,
feel like that's more
so you
dangerous.
can no, not necessarily. In controlled like things like gum, things like patches, like the doctor was talking about before, like those pouches you put in your mouth, although that might
No,
cause
I'll
cancer.
put a big fat lip of tobacco in. You know that I'll do that.
Say what? Sorry.
Big fat lip of tobacco. You know, chewing tobacco.
Yeah, that sounds disgusting.
I mean, not the best tasting thing, but it's definitely pretty good.
Right. So even that, right? Even though I'm not in agreement with that, right? Even that, you don't have to smoke it to get the substance effect, right, or the stimulant effect. So there's I'm clear about that. Right? There are two different things.
I guess so. So you're saying if I eat it, it's okay, pretty much? Like what?
I'm not saying it's okay, but I'm saying it's a different thing altogether. The
I
smoking
mean,
of
that
it
can affect your
is
gums.
one type of issue. Yeah, that's true.
I
But
feel like alcohol should be more focused on than smoking.
that's cool. We can talk about that another time though. Right, so alright, so quickly, how did I contradict myself, YZ, right? He just said nicotine isn't bad, it's the way you consume it. I'm not sure if that's exact words I said, right? But what I'm trying to say here is you can extract nicotine and there are various different uses for it, just like you can extract THC and CBD. You do not have to smoke the cannabis plant or the tobacco plant in order to access nicotine or THC. That's the point I was making. Huh? So there's some clarity for you if you misunderstood. Okay.
What y'all think about that blue one?
Say what?
I'm trying to get that one on the top. That blue one.
What blue one?
That watch.
What?
I got a watch on my screen.
Oh, I see.
see that?
Yeah, you probably shouldn't have your camera on, bro.
It's just a watch.
No, I mean in terms of the topics we're talking about, but yeah, sure. But yeah, anything do you want to add? You want to add to this actual conversation before we move on?
Y'all need life insurance or what?
Life insurance.
Yeah.
Do I need
You
it?
don't live in the U.S., so that don't work.
Of course, we have life insurance. Well, I think life
No, I'm
insurance
saying
is a
you need
scam.
it. I got it.
It's a scam.
How is it a scam?
Life insurance. Right. So initially, all insurances are designed as a scam. The idea of setting up an insurance company is to never have to pay the insurance out. Okay.
That's not true.
Yes, it is true. Okay. If
The
you
whole
set
goal
up
of
an
insurance
if
is
you
to
set
hope
up an
that the
insurance
majority of
company,
people don't die.
if you set up an insurance company, your goal wouldn't be to pay out every claim, right? Your goal would be to avoid paying out as much as possible, so you can continue to get the surplus or the profit from people who pay you. Right? That's the point of an
The
insurance
profit
company.
is somebody paying over the course of 20 years
Yes.
and then dying.
Right. So my opinion, your view, like you asked me, is life insurance is a scam initially. So is car insurance. So is property insurance, etc. Now, are they useful? Yes, they are when they work how they're supposed to work. But the majority of them do not work how they're advertised as working. That's the point I'm making. That's what makes it a scam.
I mean,
It's like a tax. Okay.
I sell it, I sling it.
Yeah,
Slang it
I'm
every
sure.
day.
I'm sure you do, right? So that puts you in the book with a bunch of shady characters.
No, I'm on the phone.
Well, would you agree that life insurance is a type of exploitation?
I mean, if they're signing multiple things, not really. You gotta read them a million legal notices. They
The
know what they're
idea-
getting into.
Oh, that's even worse. If you talk about the legality of it and the fine print, that's definitely exploitation. It's predatory because who here knows legalese?
They get
Okay.
to read the shit.
Yeah, exactly. So you're okay with the exploitation of people who don't have access to the understanding of the document. That's another type of exploitation. But I just meant the very fact that you're paying for something you largely never
It
use.
literally says right there in the writing, we recommend you getting a lawyer before signing up for this.
I bet it
life
does.
insurance. And guess what they
Yeah.
don't do?
I bet it does. Right? Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. There's levels of exploitation there. Okay. Now I understand it. It's a business and it's a hustle, but it's an exploitation. It's an exploitative hustle. Okay. You'll find most people who are involved in insurance companies are not good people. They don't care about the health or the well-being of the people they're exploiting. Whether it's health insurance, car insurance, life insurance, they don't give a shit. It's a
I mean,
it's
it
a
runs their
Ponzi.
medical records.
It's a Ponzi scheme to pull money out
So
of
you
innocent
can't really
people.
give somebody a policy unless they're pretty healthy.
It's a Ponzi scheme to pull money out of people. That's my opinion. Now, when it works, it's good, right? But usually it doesn't work because it's not designed to pay
Usually
out.
like $60 a month.
Yeah, it's an exploitation. Give me
That ain't
your
even bad.
give me your disposable income. I'll hold it for you in the event something bad happens to you. And in the event where something bad happens to you, I'm gonna make you go through hell to prove that the bad thing happened to you, so you can get
You know,
back
you
some of
can
the money.
You know, most
Yeah.
of the time,
It's
you
a
can
scam.
Actually, all whole life policies you can borrow from
It's a
them.
scam.
They pay. No, actually,
I'm aware.
half of them pay out your medical records, medical bills while you're dying.
Yes.
You can borrow against them. They actually invest in the market for
Yeah,
you.
I know, bro.
It's not a scam.
I know, bro. That's if it does pay out, but majority don't. There's a loophole
I just
within
said
that
you
same.
can borrow against it
within
while
that
you're
same-
living.
Right,
while
but
you're
there's
living.
loopholes within those same contracts that you just said people don't read.
If I pull out $100,000 whole life policy in 2 years, I can just go borrow out of it. I feel like
I don't
I
know.
can borrow 50
Look,
out of the 100.
look, bro. I
It's literally
appreciate.
a
I appreciate your financial advice, but I'm not going to take your word for that. Okay. I'm sorry. There's a vested interest there
How you
that I
get
just
rich?
don't trust. Maybe, perhaps, right? But again, it's still a type of exploitation, and that's just my opinion on it.
So exploiting the company is bad too. So
You're not exploiting a company, right?
by pulling 50K
That's a
out of
finesse. That's a finesse, right?
by pulling 50K
All right, so-
cash out.
So let's say, right, your job as a company is to make money. Okay, in order for you to be in the black, making profit,
You're dodging what I just said.
you can't have people pulling money out of your company, right? So your job is to extract the most money from the customer, right, and give the minimal amount back to the customer. That's how you
Did
make
not just hear
profit.
what I said?
I heard what
I
you
can
said,
go open
but
a
the
policy
point
and borrow
I'm
from-
making to you, the actual design or the schema of it was always to exploit the customer. That is the point. You wouldn't make a life insurance company if you had no plans of exploiting your
Isn't
customers.
every single business exploiting the customer?
Yes,
for them to buy?
yes,
I mean, you just talked
yes,
about everything.
exactly, yes. I
You're talking
am.
about everything this
I
point,
am,
so at that
I am,
point, If everything's
I
bad,
am.
nothing is bad.
I am, but insurance is a special type of greed. Okay,
A
it's a
special
special
type of
a special type of greed and exploitation. That's what it is.
Damn, my phone dropped. Fuck.
Don't worry, you've got insurance, right?
You gotta have fucking car insurance.
Right. There you
What'd you
go.
say?
I said, don't worry about your phone dropping. You've got insurance, right?
Yeah, not on my phone. Shit.
Anyways, right. It was lovely talking to you, right? Just stop exploiting people, man. It sucks.
I don't exploit shit.
Sure. We're gonna have a Pat Bet David on our hands next. But yeah, I would like to hear your hot takes or your unpopular opinions that you'd like to share if you have some. Yes, business is exploitation. All right. For instance, okay, if a person, right, if any company in existence paid its workers their value, they would not make profit. Okay? The point of business, right, is to keep as much money as possible while giving away as little as possible. So yes, it's exploitation. Insurance is a different level to that, because the person who's paying month on month doesn't see anything from that until they need the insurance. That's why it's considered a scam, a Ponzi scheme. Now we pay car insurance because we legally have to. Now, the people who use life insurance for like long-term hustling is exactly that. They're hustling. Right? They're not normal people. Okay, so you don't like capitalism got you lot in a chokehold. Do you really think you could be like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos? Like you really do, don't you? Like you man are cooked. Oh my gosh. I don't know, Rage. I don't live in the US. But yes, every business is exploitation, right? The fact that you produce surplus in order to sell that it is exploitation. For instance, right? Have you ever asked yourself how the value of exchange is worked out? What makes this amount of money worth that product? What makes this amount of labor worth this wage? Have you ever sat and thought about that? It's all exploitation. It's like, of course. What makes this writing on a piece of paper worth $60 a month? Right? You're not thinking. It's fucking silly. It's just retarded. Excuse my French. Sorry. But yes, I paid like $70 something to play a game. Yes, but who decided that value? Was it me? Not necessarily. Right, the view of luxury goods is also exploitation. Luxury goods are designed as signifiers. People who buy luxury goods can never be what they are can never be the signified. Okay, that's what I'm trying to explain to you, YZ, okay? You buy the luxury goods to signify wealth, but you're not wealthy if you buy the luxury goods, okay? They're saying I'm bullying and harassing people. How sad. Anyways, what's up, Soul?
Yo.
How you doing, bro? What you want to talk about?
I kind of just came in. I'm a smoker.
Okay.
Said smoking should be banned. Could you give me like why would you say, why do you believe that?
I'll tell you just after I ask you a couple of questions.
All right.
First question, have you ever worked in or around the tobacco or cannabis industry?
Worked in, no.
Have you worked around them?
Nah.
So you're no affiliation. So cool. Do you use either of those substances?
Cannabis. I use cannabis.
Cool. Do you mind sharing when you started consuming those substances?
Like age or like
age-wise?
I was 15 personally.
Okay. So what was it you wanted to say?
I don't think smoking should be banned. I don't think that it should be encouraged. Also, you know what I mean? But I feel like smoking being banned is just kind of too far of a step in any direction.
Why?
For one, smoking has
too far of a step.
Of any kind, marijuana or cannabis or whatever, tobacco, all of these go back hundreds of thousands and thousands of years in rituals and medicines and things like that, even in recreational usage. I'm not entirely sure who it was or what traveler it was, but they went to this area and they described the natives taking vapor baths where they would put some hemp seeds on hot stones and get in a tent and basically hotbox it, right?
Yeah, maybe that might be true, but that's not necessarily the same thing as we're talking about in 2026.
It's not, but at the end of the day, they're consuming cannabis and they're having some effects
in a different way. So true, there's a history of consumption of tobacco, cannabis, alcohol, right? But just because a lot of people do one thing or it's been done for a long time doesn't make it right. Okay.
It doesn't.
Okay,
I also would say that it's not wrong, though.
So the view on it being right and wrong is more of a moral question. Right?
Right.
If we're looking at what is actually affecting people, it's a health outcome. And then you've got a societal decline based on those health outcomes. So they're measurables. They're not just I feel likes. Do you know?
So you're not interested in a semantics argument or a morality argument whatsoever, just strict
No,
facts.
I will listen to it if it's good reasoning, and I'll tell you where I think you're going wrong if you are. But the reality is, tobacco and cannabis is a health concern. It's not just I dislike it kind of thing.
They are, but so are red meats, right? So just as tobacco and cannabis, or anything that you smoke for that matter, can cause cancer, an excess of eating red meats will also cause cancer. Do
Agreed.
you believe that you should no longer be able to eat or purchase red meats from stores?
Right, so the carcinogens in highly processed red meats definitely kill you, and they should definitely be taken off the market. Things like sausages, things like compressed types of ridiculous meats, right? Just red meat in general, like a healthy, balanced diet would not give you cancer, okay? So that's a different type of conversation. It's also low-key a red herring, okay? It's a separate issue. But yes, am I in agreement that if something is damaging to your health, it should be removed from the market? Yes, right? Because the cons would outweigh the pros. What good is living a life that is destroyed or damaged at that point? Well, don't get me wrong.
That's a semantics argument.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you shouldn't live.
Yeah, no, I didn't take it that way. No, yeah. My thing, I know a couple people personally, right? I'm a smoker, and I have a lot of smoker friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people have very different reasons behind why they smoke, specifically cannabis. I have friends who have gotten into relationships that didn't pan out, right? And smoking weed or smoking marijuana allowed them to press pause on their emotions for a second. You know what I mean? It allows you to escape your mind. And
All right, so that's entirely subjective.
Extent, it is. But it's subjective to everybody. Weed affects everybody differently, right?
Not necessarily.
So
biologically, it's pretty consistent. Biologically, it's pretty consistent. What people report experiencing, and what people report experiencing will differ. But biologically, as long as they've got a standard anatomy, it affects them in pretty much the same ways.
Kind of. I mean, yeah, but like people do different things after smoking weed. People are affected in different ways. Like you can, if you were to sit down with a joint and 5 people, you would look at the difference between all 5 of those people. They wouldn't act all the same.
Yeah, they're all different people,
they might
obviously.
all be a little happy.
That's again, that's subjective. Right? They're all different people, so there's no. What's the parameter?
Personal experience.
What's the parameter for measuring that then? Okay.
Personal experience. I've seen.
The only thing that would tie those people together is their anatomy, meaning that certain chemicals cause certain reactions. That's the only thing that would be consistent across the 5 friends. Not that this guy is giggling, this guy is sad, this guy is having a paranoid attack, right? Those things, they might be experiences based on a substance, but they are subjective. They are observations. The consistent objective. Sorry, did I say subjective before? I meant anyways. The consistent objective fact is what the chemical does when it interacts with your anatomy. That's the only thing that's consistent. So that's not really anecdotal.
Okay, yeah. So cannabis smoke THC binds to cannabinoid receptors in your brain. What that does when the cannabis binds to the receptors in your brain, it does different things for everybody. It causes different results in everybody.
Perhaps, right? But the chemical reaction is objective, right? It basically,
you said what is objective?
I said the chemical reaction is objective. Basically, long-term,
100%.
exactly, right? So long-term use of it does downregulate your body's own ability to produce dopamine, and the continued use of it degrades your prefrontal cortex, right? And things like decision-making, impulse control, all kinds of things, right? So those things are objective in terms of studying and measuring. Saying like when John smokes, he gets the munchies and feels happy and mellow. When Jane smokes, she gets paranoia, right? Those things may be true biologically, but it's like a self-report. It's not necessarily something you can measure. Okay.
What does that come into play? Like, what's the point? You're saying basically because the objective overview of something, you saying the objective overview of smoking is negative and that's why it should be banned? Because objectively it causes bad things?
Yes.
Pretty much. Okay. My sole thing is because it's subjective. For one, it's subjective to everybody. So like I said, I've had friends who most likely without cannabis would not be alive right now.
That's an
not a joke.
opinion. That's a counterfactual, and you don't know if that's true.
It's
You don't know if that's true.
they told me.
Yeah, even if they tell you, you still don't know if that's true. That's
Okay,
it's
bro,
called a
that-
counterfactual.
You can't argue that way.
That's a counterfactual. Okay, you don't know if that's true. You don't know if that would be true. It's just something you think.
Bro, in the comments talking about that's all God. Like, bro, some people.
I don't care. I don't care. Right? It's like some people say, look, waking up in the morning is a miracle, right? That's subjective, right? It's like, oh, if I didn't get this job, I was gonna die. Okay? Is that a fact? No. Okay? That's something you
It
think.
could be in a lot of
If I didn't get this spliff, I'm gonna explode with rage and do something crazy, right? Is that true? Not necessarily.
there
okay.
are a lot of
So
people who
the
are very
argument is
irritated when they are
pointless.
not.
It's
There are a
pointless.
lot of people who are very irritated when they are not high and they get into problems. That is their subjective experience.
Glad that you acknowledge some of the irritability issues with cannabis
for
consumption.
There's a lot of different effects, but being banned, it is very beneficial for some people. You see what I'm saying? It's like if you take a perk or oxycodone or something that's medically prescribed to you for pain relief, that's your subjective experience. You have a condition, you might have back pain, and when you take this, that relieves your back pain, and that's fine. But
No,
somebody else may
that'd be
abuse that
chemical.
pill and it's over with.
That's a chemical reaction.
It's
How you report, right? So if I'm understanding correctly, I may be incorrect about this, right? But when you interact with those types of painkillers, they numb your senses, I think, in some function. So the pain is actually still there, but it's your brain not receiving the signals from that pain.
Yeah,
That's chemical. Right? That's
right.
not. Right?
But I'm saying
that's not
I'm
like
saying
it's not an opinion thing.
The difference between each people is that some people will take that same pill and use it simply to numb the pain that's in their back because they have a chronic back.
That's what it's made for.
And somebody else will have no pain and they'll take it and they'll use it to get high.
And they shouldn't.
They'll do a bunch of dumb stuff off this.
And they shouldn't.
They shouldn't. But
So what's your point?
just saying that painkillers should be banned because
No one said that.
there's a lot. You didn't, but you're saying smoking should be banned.
Yeah,
This is
smoking isn't
this
a
is an
painkiller.
analogy.
It's not analogous.
analogy.
It's not analogous. Smoking
My
isn't
sister-
a painkiller, right?
My sister
You can
went to the
extract
doctor.
things like THC and CBD and use them in other forms for air quotation pain relief, topical probably, not like
You could.
yeah.
My sister has
Smoking?
gotten edibles for pain relief.
Yeah, again, that's not smoking. Sorry. So you're
It's
like
not,
you're shooting your own
but it's-
shooting your own argument in the foot. Okay. Did anyone
I feel like
did
I feel like
anyone
that's
say
a
cannabis
valid point.
should be banned? Right. Although I think it should be, but did anyone say that? It
So-
says smoking.
All right, smoking, whatever. So
Okay.
if you think
The edible
point
is an
is-
extract.
the point is, smoking is different for everyone, right? There's-
To an extent, I would agree. Yes, but biologically, as
Yeah,
long
it's
as you're a
different for
human,
everyone. I'm
there
smoking-
are
I'm smoking
consistent
right
things.
now. I'm smoking right now. I'm not
Ma-
gonna lie to you. Right?
Makes sense because you're not making sense.
Nah,
Makes so much sense.
it being banned is just like banned worldwide or countrywide in any capacity, bro. There's no why would you do that, bro?
To help people.
There's no reason.
It's called the harm principle. To help people.
a harm principle, bro.
Yes. To reduce suffering, human suffering. That's why you would ban it. Ultimately, is to reduce human suffering.
It's a
Preventable
choice.
diseases.
It's a
That is
choice.
why. That's what I'm telling you. You asked why you would ban it, right? And it's to
don't
prevent
ban-
human
You
suffering.
don't ban things like that, though. That's
What the
a
fuck
choice.
are you
Every
talking
human-
about?
Every human
Oh my
being makes a
gosh.
choice to pick up a joint or not. And bro, if they're talking
Right,
in the
so
comments, I'm
there's
making more sense than you.
yeah, they're high
If I
too.
choose,
They are
if I
proponents
choose,
of your
if I
side of the
choose to pick up a
argument. No shit.
Alright, cool.
No shit. No, that's how that works. Like if we was playing a football match and I'm the red team and you're the blue team is gonna have fans for the blue team and the red team is gonna have fans for the red team. Like whoa, like, that's mind blowing, isn't it?
Then listen.
Fuck.
So my choice to pick up a blunt, or someone else's choice to pick up a cigarette and smoke it when they
Yeah.
get off work to relieve stress.
Yeah, your
that
choice is
helps them go to
coerced though.
sleep at night.
Your choice is coerced
It's coerced by what?
by the substance and the influence of other people, mainly the manufacturers and the purveyors,
So are you not trying to
or the
influence
producers
all
of
other
the
people
subject.
and get them to ban?
Yeah, to reduce human suffering, right? But they're not doing that. They're doing it to increase human suffering in hopes of gaining profit. Okay,
That's not true.
that is true, right? Do you think it's about all right? So there are
Weed
1.3 billion.
is illegal.
There
I'm
are
in the United
1.3
States, right?
billion smokers in the world right now. That includes people who partake in weed, right? Of
Okay.
those smokers, 80% of them start smoking before the age of 20, and the majority of them are chemically dependent on a tobacco or a cannabis substance before the age of 18. If you go back and watch this live, I've collected real world data myself, right? And see the ages when people, what they use and when they started using it. So at the point in which you're using the substance as a minor, your choices have been coerced. That's based on influence, right? That's not based on sound reasoning. And at the point where you're under the influence of the cannabis or the nicotine, now you're
That
under
depends-
substance.
that's
Now you're
also-
under
that's also
substance.
semantics.
Now you're under substance influence, meaning the chemical reaction of the substance combined with the psychological phenomena of addiction drives you towards obtaining that substance more. So your choices aren't isolated, sound, reasonable choices. No, they're very coerced, very influenced
But
choices.
here's the thing, right? If you truly believe that in your mind and in your heart, you
I
can
know
never
that.
have an argument with anyone who ever smokes, because you think anyone who's ever smoked anything's opinion is not their own. It's influenced by anything and
Yeah.
every other factor. And
This is
their
true.
Brain is just
This is true,
So-
right? Just
so you're
like
just-
because it's very
but you're-
difficult to
you're-
be
you
an
are
independent
quite
thinker,
literally
right?
you're quite
It's also
literally
very difficult to be an
impossible to
original
convince.
thinker, right?
You are
Both
you are quite
things-
literally
both things
impossible to
are very
convince
difficult.
because you do not for one, you just don't believe that any smoker can tell you that smoking shouldn't be banned because their opinion is influenced by anything else, everything
But
else.
that's an
So you're
opinion.
impossible to
That's an
convince me
opinion
first.
you're giving me, right? Which you're entitled to
That's
that
a
opinion.
that's a fact based on what you just
Sure,
told me. You believe
sure, that's your opinion, right?
It's
But
not.
yes,
It's
it
not.
is. I'll tell you why,
You
right?
just told me that you believe that
Yes, if
when people
80%
smoke,
of
their opinions
smokers,
become influenced, even when they're minors.
Yes, this is a
believe that
fact.
Smokers' brains and their opinions.
these are
influenced
facts.
by
No,
the okay,
these
that's a
things are
fact.
facts.
So-
Yes, right. So in terms of
so
you
if
being able
believe-
to
so
convince
if
me
you
of
believe
something,
that every
in terms
smoker's
of you
brain
being able
is
to convince me of
influenced by
something,
some outside source,
Fam,
and
listen.
other people and cannabis itself. When would you
Yes.
ever sit down and really?
I'm
listen?
talking
Like,
to
you're
you.
not- you're not-
I'm
you're not
talking to
sitting-
you right now. I've talked
You're
to
not really-
a
you're not
bunch,
listening.
tens of people prior to
You're
you,
talking,
right?
but you're talking, but you're not.
Because you're not letting a point being heard, right?
I told you that I had friends who personally have told me that they most likely would have killed themselves.
Yes, that's an
if they
anecdote.
were not
You
smokers.
don't know if that's
And-
true. Like, why are we going backwards? We already established that's a counterfactual that you cannot know is true. Okay, that's just something someone told
can't-
you. Okay,
Dog.
that's a counterfactual. You cannot know if
What,
that's true
bro?
because it didn't occur.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
so-
Do you know, like when Kanye at that award show says, "I guess we'll never know," right? You can't fucking know because it didn't happen. That's why it's counterfactual, right?
I
Why
feel
are we
like-
going
I
backwards?
feel
You're
like
trying to
we
avoid
close-
the actual argument that came out of your mouth,
not-
right?
it's not-
We
it's not
acknowledge
in a-
we
it's not
acknowledge
the-
that you start smoking as a teen, right? So you're coerced by
I
influence.
personally-
We acknowledge that once you're under the influence of the substance, the interaction of the substance dependency drives you towards obtaining more of the substance, right? We established that. Then you went on to say, "Oh, well, then that means no smoker could ever convince you of something." I said, "No, it's not necessarily true." Right? And then what did you do from that point? You tried to jump all the way back to an earlier terrible point you made. Okay?
Dog.
So hopefully you're
How
tracking.
was Okay, how is it a terrible point to tell you from my personal experience?
Because it's
someone in my
counterfactual.
hold on. In my personal life,
I explained it
I've known
already.
for the longest time that he would have probably
But
not been
it didn't
alive today.
happen. But it didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
Right.
You wanna know why
So
it
you
didn't
can't
happen?
know if it
Because
would
he was
happen.
smoking.
You can't
But
know if
wanna
it
know
would
why
have
it didn't
happened.
happen? You wanna
Oh
know
my
why it
god.
didn't happen?
This is why you shouldn't do drugs, kids. This
he
is
was
why
smoking,
you shouldn't do drugs.
That's
Because you
his
cannot
point. That's the
think
point.
clearly or critically about anything.
What the hell? Are you
Everything that's
talking
coming
about?
out of your mouth is drivel, bro. It's
What
useless.
are you talking
right?
about?
You cannot reason. Right? Think about
I
what you
can.
are saying. Think about what you're saying.
All right, listen.
A guy told you, if
Me
I didn't
telling-
do X, Y was going to happen. Y did not happen. You cannot know what would have caused Y to actually happen. It's just a claim the guy told you.
So
If Y does not occur, all scenarios cooked up about
someone-
Y are counterfactual, meaning Y did not occur.
dog, this is the worst opinion ever.
It's not an
bro.
opinion, you're just repeating what's in the chat because you're high.
All right, bro. Listen,
Right? Get your own views.
I told-
Try not to be influenced by drugs and maybe
what
you
you're telling
could
me,
hear
bro,
what's
what
being
you're-
said to
what
you.
You're telling me right
But
now,
you're cooked already. You're done.
What you're telling
You're
me
done out
right
here.
now, what you're telling
I'm
me
joking.
right now is that you should just you should just never believe someone who
Yeah,
said
that's
they
a
were
nice
probably
nice
going
straw
to
man,
kill someone.
right? I didn't say that.
You
It's a nice
can't
straw man,
believe-
though.
You can't believe
But I'll tell you what I'm
anything
gonna do,
that ever-
right? Tell you what I'm
can't
gonna
believe
do, bro.
anything that didn't
Tell you what I'm
happen,
gonna do,
because
right? We're
if I
gonna
say
stop
something
this
didn't
conversation
happen-
here, and then I'm gonna restart the
Dog,
stream, and you can
if
come
I
back
say-
up, okay?
Nah, listen. Just
All
listen.
right.
Just listen right now. Just listen
All
right
right.
now.
So
If
be right
I
back.
tell you,
Bros cannot fucking reason when they're smoking that shit, bro. And they're like, they think they're doing something as well. And the chat's like, he's winning. You're dumb. Well, you're already, obviously you're dumb. But you are dumb. Like, okay? It's fucking ridiculous. It's like, good God. Should we get some refreshments, perhaps? It's like, oh my Lord. Like, do you think you're actually making sense here? Perhaps it's just the temperature. Alright, let's all of this nonsense jumping around was just to meet Blad and try and continue the quest. I think Blad is in the prison and we need to go through him from the prison. I think that's what happened. Like, good gosh, man. Yeah. I told you I'm restarting the stream. I gave him like ample opportunity to make a coherent point, but he couldn't. You know, she's more than welcome to come back up. In fact, Aiden, you're welcome to come up. Since you think he was spitting so much, why don't you continue his thought? Polemigas. He probably ain't gonna come back. He wasn't making any sense initially. I doubt he was gonna in the future. Telling me about. My friend said if I don't smoke, I'll unalive myself. And the hell does that have to do with reality? You could have said that about anything. Did he? Alright, let's find out. Let's poke the bear. I'm joking. Don't take that seriously. I'm just playing. Just joking. That guy's not coming back, bro. It's like why do people think this way? It's mad to me. It's absolutely insane. Perhaps I'm the one not explaining what I mean correctly, you know? Simply making a claim like that doesn't make it a fact. That's all I'm trying to explain to the guy. Your friend could say any number of things. It doesn't mean it's the truth. And truth be told, until that reality actually occurs, you don't know what could be the cause of it or why it would occur. Now, of course, you can make assumptions about what might happen in the future, but this is something that didn't happen. Okay? It probably won't happen. Yeah. Great, Aiden. No one's ever said that before. Cool, man. You should go away and look into some of the issues with implementing prohibition. It's just one of the worst arguments in the world. We know. Let's actually go and find this guy. I'm sure he's here. Well, I think edibles can be harmful as well, considering the issues with unintentional poisoning and then poor mixture of chemicals. Put it this way, right? In the food industry, food production, things are contaminated all the time. Right? And it can be very dangerous just from that aspect. Now, if you start talking about the additional influence of psychoactive substance, you've got problems on your hand. But do I think the risk is significantly lowered in comparison to smoking? Yes, because at least with the edible, you're primarily combating chemical in its extracted form, whereas in the smoking form, you've got to deal with things like COPD, emphysema, lung scarring, cancers potentially, carcinogenic effects on strangers, family members. Whereas edible is a little bit more controlled, but still dangerous. I agree, Aiden, there is risks. But again, guys like to conflate their recreational use of a substance with like medicinal use. They're not the same. It's like pretending to be a doctor. What's the point, you know? If you're not a doctor, you're not a doctor, you know? It's like, so when you say I'm self-medicating, that's bullshit. Just say the reality is I like using this substance, and through my like of using this substance, I've developed a chemical addiction. That's the truth. Just be honest. I use it because I like it and stand on it. Yo, what's up, Adam?
Yo, what's up, bro?
I talked to you earlier on, didn't I?
Yeah.
What did we talk about?
Nah, I just wanted to talk about, like, I just wanted to say, like, bro, be honest, like, when you first
I
started
remember you
smoking,
now.
yeah, when you first started smoking, I was wondering, like, did you completely green the fuck out, get high as fuck, and then completely quit after that, and, like,
I don't really talk
became
about stuff like
sober
that.
as fuck? Huh?
I don't really talk about stuff like that.
You don't be talking about stuff like that?
No, I don't talk about stuff like that.
No, I'm not like that, bro. I'm just, okay, all right, bro. All right. You don't want to answer the question?
No, I don't. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Smoke weed in the past.
Yeah.
No, it's part of the debate, bro. Part of the debate.
No, it's called a personal question that I'm not obligated to answer.
Bro.
But you can talk, like, if you want to debate, sure. Okay. So, that guy's weird, right? Respectfully, Adam, you're kind of weird. It's like, but yeah, I'm not obligated to answer any kind of question like that. Yeah, sleeping medication is dangerous as well. So I don't look. People in their whataboutisms, man. There should be a study going forward. I think someone should do a PhD study on whataboutism and how comes people can't think about one issue at a time. At least, like, for instance, there are people who are able to think in an intersectional fashion, meaning they take into consideration various other aspects, right? But these people don't think in that kind of way. They're scattered thinking, meaning they can't focus on one point at a time. Right? Now, if you're... Yeah. Anyways, I'm just giving you too much information right now. But yeah. There's a difference in approach here. Yes, it does, right? There is influence on other aspects, but you got to realize, right? When people are trying to have a discourse, right, what's called a dialectic, right, there's a discussion, and it needs to have a certain, let's say, direction. Okay, people's argument style or type of dialectic they engage in is called it's primarily fallacious, because they can't. Right, so in a nutshell, right, in debate speak, a whataboutism, like what about alcohol, what about sleeping pills, what about XYZ, would be considered a red herring if you're trying to evade the main topic or the main point that's being raised. Okay, that's why it's not conducive to a good conversation or reaching an outcome, e.g. a synthesis, because it's all over the place. That's not a good strategy for speaking. It's not a good strategy for problem solving. In most scenarios, it's no good, right? So people will be like, oh, hey, today, like, we're gonna go down to the factory and invent the seatbelt. No, yeah, but what about tires? Yeah, what about potholes? But what about the president's breakfast last night? Right? It's not conducive. It's a mess. It's not a good way to think about things. Now, are other things relevant? Yes, they are relevant in context, in good timing. But not if that's your whole way of reasoning. That's just foolish. So again, it's like people go around trying to. Alright, so again, the problem with the way people think is that they go around trying to establish some kind of basis of what should be good based on bad things that already exist, or like the extremities. You don't need extreme bad things to exist in order for you to establish what you would consider the ideal good. Okay? So people's view about this in this kind of context is like, yeah, it's just cigarettes, it's just weed, at least it's not crack, at least it's not alcohol. That's you trying to establish a normative good based on an extremity. It says nothing about the actual value of the thing itself. You're just saying at least it's not that. It's like how a fascist or a racist builds their identity on the negation of somebody else's identity. This says nothing about who you are. You're just saying at least I'm not them. But you don't establish what you are. Right? Your identity is based on, or is predicated on the negation of their identity. As in this example, your substance consumption is morally valued on the negation of that substance consumption, right? Which is a terrible, foolish way to think, right? Maybe I'm not articulating it properly, but it's just, you can't go about living that way. It's silly. It's like you won't. For the Philbro fans or the Greek lovers, you won't reach any kind of eudaimonia thinking in that way. It's like, right, sure, this is an extremity that's bad, but what is the ideal good? You know, the ideal good could still never exist with so many extreme bads anyway. But you need to at least be able to establish what the ideal good is. So, yes, if you listen to the whole analogy, Danny, I did, right? Because an example for you, Danny, of what I'm explaining about whataboutism. Let's say a woman comes in and she's complaining about being sexualized, basically misogyny, sexism, all right? And you say to her, at that moment, at that time, who cares that you're being sexualized or you've experienced misogyny? I'm experiencing racism. So your issue doesn't matter because my issue is real, or vice versa. John comes in and says, I'm experiencing racism. And Jane goes, who cares? I'm experiencing sexism. It's that kind of analogy, right? The only difference is with the racism analogy I gave, people are gauging their moral standing on the substance they use based on someone else's moral standing and the substance they use. That's no way to establish a good, right? It's just literally establishing your identity on the negation of something else. That's foolish, right? That's how racism works. I think I'm good because I'm not you. Not I think I'm good because I know my inherent or intrinsic value. It's just that I'm not you. So weed, as an example, is good because it's not alcohol, because it's not crack. You can't think like that. That's dumb in all senses. Okay. That was what the analogy was. Right? But yeah, it's probably more nuanced, too nuanced for you, maybe. Adam, you back?
Yo.
Are you right this time?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. No. So like, bro, you just confused me a little bit, like because like, wait. So can you go over what you were just saying a little bit, bro? My fault. I gotta go. I'll check my sister.
What I was saying about what specifically?
You was talking about like, I forgot, bro. I completely.
Adam, you gotta be a troll, man. I swear to God.
Nigga, no, I'm
You
not
gotta be a troll.
I'm not a troll. I'm dead ass trying to talk to me debate. I swear to God, bro. But like, yeah, bro, I smoke a lot of weed, bro, so I don't have good memories. So like, can you tell me what happened?
You sound like a troll, bro.
Bro, on God, I'm not fucking lying. On my life.
Alright, so what exactly do you want me to talk about?
Bro, I just want to know. Okay, so if you're not, bro, never mind, bro.
You can do it again, innit? Alright, Adam, that's the last time I'm gonna let you out. This guy's a troll, bro. Anyways, I want to hear some hot takes or some unpopular opinions that you can change my mind about. I don't necessarily care to keep going into the smoking conversation, but we can if you really want to. But I would like to hear something interesting from the other side of the table, possibly. Or maybe we end up agreeing, who knows? Yeah, young, my opinion on drinking is the same, right? I just haven't done the research on the actual... I haven't done the research on the actual problems with it, but I'm aware of the problems. Some of the problems. Whereas, we've had the stream about alcohol being banned in the past, and we'll have it again in the future, but there's a lot of studying to be done first. Do you have a problem with both Roan? The smoking more so, but illicit substance is real. I made like a passing kind of joke about it earlier in the stream. This is terrible to say, but if only there was some way to like bottle the trauma of living in or growing up as a child where your caregivers are substance dependent and your environment is dictated by drugs and shit. Just if there was a way to bottle that and to make people experience that, like middle class people, upper class people, people who are apparently able to, cope with their substance, to try and get through to them the social economic realities of people, make them 3 to 4 times more likely to depend on the drugs, and then the drugs make them more trapped in the cycle, creating disproportionate health outcomes, bad educational outcomes, developmental damage of the brain, all these things that stem from this one little thing. If you could actually bottle that in some way, because it's very difficult to articulate it and actually have people understand it, then maybe they would kind of get what's being said here. This isn't just like some moral claim you think it's bad, smoking naughty. No, smoking literally destroys people's lives. Substance abuse literally destroys families. Then the knock-on effect is communities, knock-on effect is countries. That's why, like, if you go look into some declassified CIA documents, one of the biggest tools for political or geopolitical destabilization is to flood countries with drugs, illicit substances, because of what it does, okay? Both economically and health-wise, socially. But hey. Hello?
Yo.
What's up, bro? Can I get a name?
Hey, what's up? How's it going, bro?
I'm good, bro. You?
I'm chilling. So,
What's your name
I'm not
first?
gonna lie, I was going past the live. I was low-key kind of interested because
Can I get your name, bro?
my name's Gavin, bro.
Nice to meet you, Gavin. What do you want to talk
Sir,
about?
sir, nice to meet you. So I saw your opinion, and I kind of half agree and disagree with you because I kind of, my interesting take is that obviously long term and short term in cases, like, it just differs person to person. Like, smoking is not good for you. Although, you know, happenstance for me, it has brought a lot of clarity and creativity to my life in certain aspects. So I've been smoking.
Wait, before we get into that then, right, since you want to talk about the smoking subject, there's a couple of
Yeah.
qualifying questions I ask everyone if they want to talk about that. So the first is, have you ever worked in or around the tobacco or cannabis industry?
I've worked as a clerk, nothing more like a smoke shop owner and stuff, but I've sold tobacco, alcohol products. So I've known about that. I've been around that.
Have you ever consumed either of those substances?
Oh yeah.
Do you mind sharing what age you started using them?
I've never been much of a drinker. I'd say smoking, I probably started around 14, 15. Was like chronically back then.
Alright, so go ahead and make your points.
Okay. Yeah, because
Sorry,
I think
I don't mean to be rude, I'm just like a little bit exhausted and it's very hot.
Oh no,
So
bro,
apologies.
I get it, bro. You probably talking, debating with people all day and shit.
Yeah.
No, I think it's just interesting though, because like, do I think it should be banned? I mean, not really regulated much more to an extent, I think, because see, it's hard for me to say we should ban these things because just like I had heard from you earlier, you know, a lot of the big excuse is that smoking is a substance that is easily better than drinking alcohol, drinking your life away, or taking these hardcore illicit substances. And, you know, a lot of people, I think, use that as a fact of maybe numbing their brain or smoking more than they have to or too much, you know, because of that. And luckily for me, I've kind of got to a point where, like, when I was younger, I really was chronically smoking to the point where it would dumb my brain down. You know, I would do a lot of things, skip a lot of things because of it.
Hmm.
And everybody's different. And, you know,
Oh,
some people hate
that's
it right away. I didn't
it's
always
a well
like it.
documented effect of it, to be fair. You're not alone in that. It's like
Right.
it's designed to kind of do that. I don't mean like with intention, but it's just what it does.
Yeah, of course. So there's always that feeling in the back of your head, you know. I think what smoking does for a lot of people, and most actually, is it brings out a lot more of the truth around you. You know, you kind of instantly get to think about what
I
your
don't think that's true.
environment is. You know what I mean? And so, like, luckily for me, you know, I've gotten
I
to
don't
the
think
point
that's true,
where
brother.
I can, you know, moderate myself. Like, I know when to stop because I don't want to get to that anxious point or whatnot. But I think it should be way more regulated to the point where it's kind of pointed out. See, like, I think it's hard though, because I can't really say my generation. I grew up with them and around them. You know, it's all this shit is very regulated now. You know, like everyone does it. You know, you see everyone vape, you see everyone smoke. And so no one seems to give a shit. You know, they don't seem to
doesn't mean
care
it's
about
right
the
though,
posted
obviously.
warnings or whatnot. So I can imagine it's kind of hard unless you just kind of smack down some new rules. But I think it should be a lot more researched, a lot more, you know, regulated to the point where people are notified of like the long-term effects of such.
Well, that's part of the
Otherwise-
plan, obviously.
Yeah,
I don't think you could just make this stuff illegal overnight. That would never work.
right.
That
Yeah,
that
no,
would cause
this is
more
all-
harm, anyways.
Yeah.
The point is to reduce the harm.
Yeah, I kind of think in a way like that. Yeah, because it has helped me in certain ways. You know, it's weird to say because we.
No, I don't necessarily agree to that part. But
Yeah.
that could be your experience. I can't say anything about
Right.
your
Yeah,
experience.
it's personal. It's personal opinion between everybody, differently. But, you know, some people it takes their anxiety away. Some people it
Induces
induces
anxiety.
creativity. Yeah, right. It can induce anxiety a lot. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's changed over time. Like, it didn't used to do that for me at all whatsoever. Now I could never smoke nearly the same amount, you know, without having a panic attack. And that's just natural, you know, and I have to have the respect for myself too, you know, when to
So long-term
stop.
exposure is linked to all kinds of mental health issues and physical health issues. Like the mental health risk is there from just one exposure, but long-term is like it's exponentially worse.
Right.
So in my mind, I mean, even like statistically, scientifically, the cons will outweigh the pros from the economic factor, how you would suffer financially or gain financially, from health factor, how you suffer from health effects or how you gain from health effects, and then from a social aspect, what it does for your life, for your opportunities. The cons outweigh the pros in all orders. So I mean, I can articulate it 100 times, but it's whether people can actually really get it, you know?
I can agree with that. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I'd have to keep in mind that a lot of people are human, you know, they have their own reasons too. And it's like, I don't know, it's weird because not everybody is as disciplined, but I think someone with a full discipline could easily just avoid that smoking situation entirely, you know. But I think a lot of people, they do it out of boredom.
You could save them, though. You could save them from having to make that decision about willpower and discipline. It's just a matter of picking it up off the ground.
I gotta ask, just cause, bro, have you ever smoked yourself?
Yeah.
Like frequently or just like once a couple times?
Yeah.
Ew, bro.
So I kind of know what I'm talking about.
Of course, bro. It's good to know. Yeah, but
I've been on both sides of the table, and I can tell you this side of the table is way better.
I agree. I understand. Bro.
Simple as that. Like, not just subjectively, objectively.
But yeah, that's kind of my take on it. I agree with a lot of things you said, bro. It should be a lot more. People should be more notified about what the effects are, what goes on with this kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, there's a direct strategy if you want to hear it. Right? So, in terms of banning it, what would be the actual way in the protocol? It's like a war of attrition. Right? So, the first thing you do is you keep it illegal, but you decriminalize the current users of it. That means people are caught using it or distributing it. Well, distribution might be a little bit different, but using it, what would happen is you get a fine, you get mandatory education, depending on the continuation of your law breaking. Essentially, would raise the stakes on what your punishment would be. Likely just be like mandatory rehabilitation, which is kind of really difficult and actually bad. Ideally, you'd never end up in mandatory rehabilitation. That's akin to a sentence. But that being said, so the first thing you do is you decriminalize it, right? But you keep it illegal. The next thing you do is you administer regulations on the industry that produce it. So it means you attack the actual production process. You reduce in tobacco the nicotine quantity and quality by 95%. In cannabis, the THC or CBD quality by 95%. What this does is actually make it easier for people who are currently using it to get off of it. Because how these substances work, you build a tolerance to it or resistance to it. So you have to keep finding higher and higher potencies, which feeds the addiction cycle, which makes it hard to get off. So you regulate it from a production standpoint. You decriminalize it, but keep it illegal. And then the next thing you do, you set in play a legislation like what's coming 2027, the ASH Act, which will make it illegal for younger people to access the market. So anyone born after 2009 will never be able to buy a tobacco product legally. So on the legislation front, that's a very good piece of legislation. It can work. But now on the social front, what you have to, which would be like the step 4, I think, would be social engineering. Like you said, making the education, the case studies readily available, what it actually does to people. And it'll be a process of decoolifying it. Because again, there's like really good intellectuals and academics who've studied this. The view of cool and how it's used in marketing is like a capturing of rebellion, and it becomes hollow rebellion. Initially, the idea of rebellion shouldn't be commodified, shouldn't be commercialized, but that is what cool essentially is. It's rebellion. Okay, cool has now been captured corporately, right? And that's what's been attached to tobacco products, to cannabis, to alcohol. Who are the purveyors of cool? The influencers, the marketers, the artists, the movie makers, media, politicians, of course, too. So the third and final step is social engineering to combat those things. But the legislation, locked in. The attrition, locked in. Oh, and I forgot. Subsidizing smoking cessation. Right? Smoking cessation is basically supplying treatments for people who are currently using nicotine and cannabis, meaning alternatives like gums, patches, therapies, etc. So that is how you ban something long term. You don't just make it legal overnight.
I think you got a very intricate plan. I'll say that, bro. You definitely know.
We'll wait until the big guns start doing it. You'll be like, oh shit.
Well, I can definitely get by. You know, it's funny because usually people are like hard one way or the other. They won't just find a medium. But like you say some very agreeable things, bro. Like I can definitely understand your point where you come from. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people are on the opposite side. They don't give a fuck. I
Of
know
course.
that effect. Smoking is the best. But yeah, bro. It's a good talk. Glad to hear your opinion and stuff. Yeah, man.
So I have one more question for you. Do you have plans of quitting in the future?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a big problem for me. Like I'm happy and proud to actually say that without, having to hold myself crazy accountable. Like quitting is some big thing because I've quit multiple times. Like I said, I'm not a big smoker whatsoever at all.
That's like a key marker of addiction. Quitting and then reusing.
Quitting and using.
Yeah. It's the cycle. It's literally the cycle of addiction.
I'm nowhere addicted, bro. Like I could hit something once
I don't
every
mean to
couple
be
months.
don't
and
mean to be
fine,
rude, bro. Like, but every crackhead heroin addict that's ever said has ever spoken about this topic has said the exact same thing. I'm not addicted. It's not a problem. I can stop whenever I want. That's like that is the psychology. That is what it sounds like to be addicted.
No disrespect, but you got me wrong, brother.
I'm not I'm just saying based on what you just said. All right, one of the hallmarks of addiction is wanting to quit and not being able to quit, or quitting and then restarting. That's like the hallmark of addiction. Okay.
But no, I don't even smoke, bro, for real. So it's not.
But good
like
luck
a
to you.
problem.
Good luck to you.
Good luck
If
to
you
you as
intend to
well.
quit, good luck to you. I hope you can get there.
I'm sure I'll be fine.
All right. Good luck, my friend.
So.
People don't get like that is exactly what addiction sounds like.
How you doing?
What's up, bro? Hey,
Hello.
is that Whitebeards? Is that what's his name? Is that what his name is?
What'd you say? What'd you say?
Is that a Whitebeard in your avatar from?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Greatest stepfather fiction.
Say again, sorry.
I said
Greatest step.
stepfather.
I don't know. I've never really thought about that. That's not, I feel like, I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, not true. Fiction stepfather. But look.
Alright, what do you want to talk about?
So your problem is not just with smoking, but drug and I can't say that. Smoke and
Say what you want.
tobacco usage as well.
So wait, sorry, can you say it again? Sorry, I kind of got distracted.
You're against the usage of tobacco and cannabis products.
Well, I wouldn't say cannabis products in general, but yeah, just for the sake of ease, smoking cannabis. Mostly.
Are you against all drugs?
Outside of medicinal settings, yes. Recreational drug use, yes, I'm against it. I'm against all like psychoactive substances for recreational purposes.
Sure, you're against.
But wait, before we get to that, right, since you want to talk about the main subject, I've got to ask a couple of qualifying questions. So the first question is, have you ever worked in or around the tobacco or cannabis industry?
No.
Have you ever used either of those substances?
Yeah.
Do you care to share the age you started using them?
18.
Cool. So yeah, now you can carry on.
How could I sum up my point? To put it shortly, I feel like we live in a society that put different stigmas on certain drugs, but like it's not treated fairly across the board.
Say it again, sorry.
I feel like we live in a society that put different stigmas on certain drugs, and all drugs are not looked at and treated across the board like as equally harmful.
I agree.
Sugar and caffeine could be even more dangerous. Even alcohol, which is more legal and accessible than cannabis, could be typically more dangerous, but one get policed and one get more attention and stigma opposed to the other, and it's a symptom of the society that we live in, I feel like.
Yes, this
So,
is true, but they're not necessarily the same. They're not necessarily analogous, right?
so my point is like, sure, smoking could be harmful. There's a lot of things that's harmful in life, but ban, I think that would be infringing upon liberty
I don't think it
of
would.
like one's. Yeah.
So, in terms of your ability to make a choice, you can't litigate that out of you. Right? But what you can access with your ability to choose, you absolutely can litigate, which is the market essentially. So that has nothing to do with your personal rights and liberties. It's the market. But what is an affront to your liberties, like, would be your right as a child to a safe and healthy environment that allows for maximum or at least the potential for human flourishing. That is an affront to your liberties. And these substances are an affront to that.
Hey, you say so.
No, it's just a fact. It's not just like, it's not if I say so. It's a fucking fact. Excuse my French, right? If you listen, not even just, you don't have to just listen to these past conversations. Statistically, 80% of all smokers start before the age of 20 and are chemically dependent before the age of 18. That means the primary influence is happening to children. Then the substance dependency is going on to influence their choices. So that means there's a coercion happening there from a very young age. So what happened to their right to a healthy and safe environment to grow up? What about that liberty?
A valid point. But hey, I mean, that's something by the government. I ain't gonna say something, but drugs.
Tobacco, it's legal.
Drugs entering the community. I do believe is a symptom of the environment, which is allowed by the government.
That's kind of true. It's kind of true. As I stated earlier on, the flooding of drugs into certain environments is a destabilization tactic. It's a geopolitical weapon. It's well known. So that's kind of true too. But like the people who live in these environments, they have to be able to organize around issues. And if they're unaware of the issue or misinformed in the issue, then how can they protect themselves?
I don't see an issue really.
Can't hear you,
I
bro.
mean, as far as weed.
You're mumbling or muffled. Can't hear you.
I say I don't necessarily. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, valid point.
I couldn't hear what you were saying though. You said something, it was just like so not quite sure what you said. Bro dropped. Anyways, anyone else want to come up? I can't find Blad, so I think he's actually imprisoned. It's either that or I need to do all the candles. But I have the suspicion that he's imprisoned. It's like last time when we went to do the quest line. He's in one of these. You haven't come up, just hit the request. If your account allows you to, it will show. Can I speak up? Is it that quiet? Yo. Testimony. Testimony. There you go. Can you hear me? I'm tired. I'm hot. I'm agitated. But I'm still here. So hopefully you can hear me. You did a request, but you're not allowed. So what's going on with your account then? Yeah, you can't come up for some reason. I don't know what's up with your account. Vizo, you can come up and ask me if you want to ask me. I'm kind of tired of speaking to chat. No, I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I can't put my eyes in two different places, at least of my own will. Get the fuck out of here. You probably just haven't got the follow account. Look, I'm well aware of online suppression, right? But get the fuck out of it, with all honesty. Right? You just haven't met the requirements to go live. They're not banning you because you're Muslim. With all due respect. I think that's a bit of a reach. But yes, online suppression is real, but I think that was a bit of a reach. Hello?
Yo, what's up?
What's up, bro? Can I get your name?
Josh.
Nice to meet you, Josh. What do you want to talk about?
I'm just kind of curious why you think smoking should be banned. Are you talking about weed or tobacco?
Alright, we'll get to that in just a sec, right? Quick question. Have you ever worked in or around the tobacco or cannabis industries?
Not really.
So when you say not really, it doesn't sound sure.
I mean, I've sold weed.
Oh, it's unfortunate. That's cool. I do appreciate the honesty, but you need to kind of protect yourself. Like, I know you probably got
I'm
like
not
an
saying I
avatar
do now.
and
That's like 10
all that
years
kind of
ago.
stuff. That's good. That's cool. That's chill. Alright, have you ever used any of those substances?
Of course.
Do you mind sharing what age you started using them?
I used tobacco first when I was 9.
Damn, son.
Same with weed.
That's crazy. Alright, so, question you asked?
I'm just wondering why you think it should be banned.
Because the cons outweigh the pro in almost every scenario, economically, health-wise, socially.
So you think we should ban sugar?
We should definitely regulate sugar. Sugar is definitely harmful.
Why regulate it and not ban it?
Because sugars occur naturally. That's what glucose is, and our bodies depend on glucose, specifically our brain. So it really depends.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, you just think the pros or the cons outweigh the pros in general?
Yeah, in almost by every parameter. It's like when you hear
for every individual. I mean,
yeah, it would. As long as you've got a human
everybody's
anatomy.
different.
As long as you've got a human anatomy, you're considered. Like the issues affect you, right? So, for instance, the pros people give for cannabis and tobacco consumption is usually a social element. Right? It's what you do with your people when you're enjoying a party. Then you've got the artistic, or at least the marketed artistic element, the trope of art being linked to substance abuse. Then you've got the feelings element. This makes me feel X, Y way. And then when you compare those with the cons, what it does to your health, what it does financially, economically, what it does socially, what it does to your mental, those pros do not even come close. They're almost negligible.
I mean, I'm just from my personal experience, I have never been negatively affected. My cons have never outweighed the pros on my side. So, I mean, I get what you're saying.
But have you ever really truly taken stock of it? Why would you be using tobacco at the age of 9?
Well, I mean, I don't use tobacco anymore, and I've been through that, and
Right,
you know,
that's harm.
that's what.
That's harm.
Sure, I mean, it was harm, but
So
how has that affected me now? I mean,
well,
I
that's
don't
definitely changed the trajectory of your life.
My body has no health
you
issues
being a
because
health
of it. My mind has
brother,
no health issues because
you
of
being
it. I
a
don't have mental
you being a
health problems
child.
because of it.
Right, that might be what you're reporting to me. I have no way to know if that's true. Okay, well, we'd know based on the things you say, and eventually it will show.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you.
But-
I mean, you
but-
can just trust me. I'm not trying to lie to you.
I
I'm
would
just
never
saying I
trust
don't
you.
have-
Alright, but like, what I'm trying to explain to you is, in terms of you being in an environment that is conducive for your health and your well-being as a child, that is obviously not provided to you. The fact that you ended up smoking at a certain age, the fact that you ended up selling at a certain age, right, indicates otherwise that these are real-world health and social outcomes.
But
So
what
these
were
these
my
aren't just like.
what were my negative consequences that came from that? Because I haven't.
I'm not quite sure. I haven't heard you articulate them, but I'm pretty certain that
That's
there
'cause
are
there
some.
none.
Nonsense.
There are none.
That's nonsense.
How is it not?
I'm not gonna like assume conjecture and start telling you about your life. Right. So the consequences are across the board. I can't tell you about your personal life. Right? But if you're trying to
Well,
tell
that's what
me,
I'm saying. I'm only telling you from my
with all due
personal
respect,
experience.
if you're trying to tell
there
me
is
that you're the exception to the rule, have at it, right? If that's what your view is, you're the exception to the rule. People say the same thing about crime. People say the same thing about a number of things, and it usually doesn't pan out that way. But if that's what you think, fine.
Well, I'm not the only exception. Is my point.
Hmm.
There's many other cases just like me.
I don't know if that's true. That's something you're saying. I don't know if that's true though.
I mean, I guess if you don't know, then you haven't seen it. That's okay.
Yeah. So you can say it, but whether it's true or not remains to be determined. So I have no reason to believe it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've seen it similar in a lot of other people I know and I've met.
Yeah. I could say that too. But then I've seen the opposite as well.
And
But
as have I. I'm not denying the
what do my
opposite. I'm
anecdotal
just saying.
experiences have to do with the world at large or the reality that we live in? Their experiences are important to me, but do they actually inform me of the nature of the world or what the health epidemic is or the social outcomes? Not really. It's just my anecdotal experience. I have to access data to get a broader picture.
Right. And I'm just giving you my, experiences firsthand,
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I can't tell you what your experiences are. You can only report them to me, whether they're honest or dishonest. I don't know. But what I'm saying to you is, if you're saying, "Oh, nothing bad has happened to me," that's fine in an anecdotal sense. But if you share the same anatomy as a human, eventually the consequences will show up in some way. So that's what I'm saying.
And I mean, why do you think that I shouldn't be able to experience those consequences if I choose to?
Well, it's an interesting point, right? If you would have said to me, you came to me age of 25 or age of 26, you said, "Hey, I'm going to start consuming tobacco or selling cannabis or consuming cannabis at the age of 26, I'd say, right, you're an idiot, but at least you're an informed idiot. You appear to be an informed idiot.
Right.
But if you come to me at any age before that, there's clearly a level of coercion that's happened there because your mind isn't fully developed. And again, like I said, if you share the same anatomy as humans, right, any interaction with these substances before the age of 25 stunt you developmentally, right? Socially, psychologically, and physically. Long-term exposure to it, cannabis-induced psychosis, emphysema, COPD, etc., etc. The list goes on. Right? So it's not really about your choice to use it before the age of 25. So that's not really what's on the table here. It's about the reality that you actually exist in, starting using it at the age of 9.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I guess I don't really have anything, else to argue that, but I mean, because you're not wrong, but I just don't agree that it should be banned because I think anybody should be able to experience what they want. Anything can be harmful. Anything can lead to harm. Anything has. Everything has.
But we don't. But we don't go about reasoning about things in extremes, using extremes. We look at what the thing does.
You're reasoning off of the extreme of the negative extremes.
No, because the statistics show that it's the norm. Right? It's not the extreme. For example, right, your position is analogous to this. Jane is able to jump off a 12-story building and she didn't die. Therefore, anyone who jumps off a 12-story building is okay. Right? That's kind of what you're saying. The substance, what it does to you physically, is analogous to what gravity will do to you physically. Now, just because Jane's the anomaly or Jane's the anecdotal special exception to the rule, it doesn't mean Jane is outside of the parameters of gravity or Jane is outside of the parameters of chemical dependency and what that does to your body. She's an anecdotal exception, if that's even true. That's the problem with reasoning that way.
I don't see it, but I mean, you should ban peanuts then because some people can die from eating them. I mean, I don't see how.
Yeah, so that's what you've just displayed there is like a default to a straw man because you can't deal with the actual point that's put to you. No one said anything about peanuts.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're saying because somebody can have a bad experience that you should ban it? I mean, I just don't.
Right, so if the substance itself, e.g. tobacco or cannabis, right, is linked to death ultimately the worst outcome is death, and there's various human suffering on the way to death. If you say I'm the exception to that rule, I'm not experiencing the human suffering and I haven't died yet, you're analogous to the Jane who's jumped off of the building and survived, or temporarily survived, okay? So you shouldn't judge all cases in that same extremity either. So what is the safe middle ground? Don't jump off the building and don't use the substance that kills you. That's the wiser thing.
The safe middle ground is to let them jump off the fucking building if they want to.
No, that's not. Alright, look.
Yes, it is. It's
Alright, so
human.
give
You're allowed to make
give your reasoning.
decisions.
Give your
You're allowed to
reasoning.
make your own decisions against if it's negative against your life or not.
Alright,
The
so
problem should be that you should be informed that the bridge, if you jump off of it, can kill you. Not the problem. No, you
yeah, I
can't jump
agree.
off the bridge.
You should be informed, right? But your
You should be
ability
able to
your
jump off
ability
it.
to comprehend that information is very important here. Just like your ability to comprehend the health consequences and the mental consequences of using a substance at 9 were not available. Like they were non-existent. Right?
When?
So were you informed of the health consequences, the long-term health consequences of picking up tobacco or cannabis at the age of 9? Did you have the
Yeah.
ability to comprehend that?
Yeah, I did.
All right, anomaly.
I have
So you're just
family
you're
experiences,
just the
the
fucking
DARE
exception
program.
to the
I mean,
rule across the board, then, all right?
understand how it
You're just the exception to the rule across the board, all right? Then one would argue if you had the capacity of that kind of intellect, how the fuck would you end up smoking a cigarette in the first place?
because I made the decision. I wanted to.
I would
did
disagree.
not.
I think you were
In the moment
coerced.
of time, I weighed out my pros and cons.
Bullshit.
at
I
the
think
time.
I think you were coerced like every child is through a system of influence. Okay.
Coerced.
Yes, that's coercion, right? A minor who doesn't have the ability to make use of his higher cognitive functions or executive order functions, right, is at the behest of everything above him and around him or her. So that is the coercion, your environment, the influence, the fact that the product is available for you to consume. That's the coercion. Now, if you did that same thing at 25 or 26, it's a little different then. Like you escape, you'll be in the 11%.
Right.
But you're not, right? You're in the 80%. That means something has gone wrong on a societal level while you're using it at 9.
Yeah. Okay.
So then it's not just your choice. You weren't informed, and it weren't a choice that you made.
I was informed though. I mean, I have family who's experiences health problems from such a thing at that age. I mean, I've seen it all around me. I can very much so say that I was informed on the consequences of tobacco and weed.
At 9.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
So-
obviously since I did start at a young age, you can understand that my life kind of had a, want to say like rough stuff going on. Like, there's a reason that I started doing that because
There
of
you
what was around
go.
me, like you said, but I chose to make that decision, even though I knew the harms that could be impacted. Like
All
my
right,
family
so-
would pass away from lung cancer and etc.
So there's
I
an
knew
issue.
that at that
There's
age.
there's various levels of issue here, which we're trying to actually reduce in society, right? The environment, for instance, the socio-economic outcomes that you existed in, made you 3 to 4 times likely to use the substance in the first place. But to the point of what I'm trying to say now, you're claiming at 9 you were informed before using the substance. Now, what has to be established here, and I know it's going to sound rude, right? But there's clearly a problem in your reasoning skills then, right? We could walk through it
At
like
the
this.
time, yeah.
Obviously, you're 9, right?
Yeah,
We're not
obviously,
expecting
like, I made
exactly.
a bad decision, but it wasn't because I was uninformed.
I disagree, right? But
It's
since
because I was
since
impulsive
since you
and I
say
was looking for an instant gratification of whatever the feeling that I got.
Yeah, and
Not
what
because I
what
was
does
uninformed of the
what does the
long-term
chemical
consequences.
what does the chemical
My
substance
pros
do?
outweighed the cons in the moment.
Nonsense.
In the moment, I believe that the high or the temporary instant gratification that I would get would
Fam,
be better than the long-term
Just
consequences.
just to be frank with you, right? You may be trying to fool yourself, but you're not fooling me, okay? Just to be clear. But to the point anyway, right? Let's reduce it
How
to
does that not make sense to
let's
you, bro?
reduce it to
Like,
a simpler format, okay?
common
Would you
sense.
would you say self-harm is a rational thing to do?
No.
All right. So at any point you would engage in self-harm, it would be an irrational choice.
No, irrational? Sorry. It is not rational to self-harm. No.
Yeah, so it's irrational.
Yes.
Right, so at any
What's your
point
point?
where you'd engage in self-harm, it would be irrational, meaning there's a lapse in reasoning skills.
Sure.
Right. So at the point where
What's
you
the point?
engaged in self-harm at 9, there was a lapse in reasoning or rationale. What do you think that is? What do you think is the cause of that?
That's impulse decisions because I was young
Hmm.
and I wanted the instant gratification of the high, and I could care less if it affected me long term. And to the day, I still don't care. So,
Right.
what's your point?
So there's a problem there. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. That is what needs to be addressed. There is the problem there. You weren't reasoning. You weren't really informed. You didn't have the capacity to reason because you were a fucking child.
No, I had the capacity. I just chose not to fucking not do it.
So then that's as good as saying I'm stupid.
Just like I had other kids around me who were the same age and they didn't do it.
Yes, but if you were to say, if you were to, honorably, you're assuming responsibility for your actions, commendable, right? Even as ridiculous and misplaced as it is, right? But honestly, if you're to say, yes, I was well informed and I'm assuming responsibility for my actions at 9 years old, then what you're actually saying is I'm stupid because I know it's
Yeah, I'm
irrational,
not-
I know it's unreasonable, and I did it anyway.
Yeah, and sure, I'm stupid, but has it affected me negatively or given me negative consequences? No.
Yes.
So how am I so stupid?
When is a stupid action ever beneficial?
Ever been what?
When is a stupid action beneficial?
Well, if it's not unbeneficial to me, then what's the problem?
When is a stupid action beneficial?
Instantly.
Really?
Can be, yes.
So apparently the cycle or the trajectory of stupidity hasn't ended then.
What?
Oh my god.
What are you talking about?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
You can make decisions that are stupid. It doesn't.
Would you? All right. So if the decision is beneficial, it's probably not a stupid decision. Right. If it's retroactive, if you're retroactively, if you're retroactively applying some benefit to it, saying, "Oh yeah, it's kind of good that I did all these wrong things because look where I am now," that's a different thing.
Exactly.
But in the time, when you made the
my
decision, the decision was a stupid decision. The post hoc rationalization comes completely later, and if you had died, there would have been no post hoc rationalization. Okay, right? I know, but what I'm trying to establish to you, right? If you made
stupid, but
yes,
nothing ended up stupid about it. Nothing.
Right. Why it's stupid? Why is it stupid? Because we already established self-harm is irrational, yet you chose to harm yourself. So it was irrational. And we asked, why would you do that? You weren't able to give reasons to that. Hence why I gave
Did
it.
I harm myself?
Hence,
Really? Did I
yes,
really harm
yes,
myself?
yes,
Do
you
I
did. You did.
Okay, how?
You
How?
inhaled a substance as a child. You did.
How did that harm me, bro? Tell me how it harmed me.
The substance itself is harmful.
Man,
Oh my gosh,
you
man.
can't tell me a way that it harmed me. You genuinely.
The substance, right, is a poison, right? Tobacco. It's
Right.
a poison, right? Inhaling it through smoke, right, scars the lungs. Now, you may have gone through unscathed with your one interaction, which I don't think it was. It's probably a continuous use, right? But the action itself is akin to the analogy I gave of self-harm, because smoking is self-harm, right? So,
Sure.
if the reasoning or the
Well, I feel
rationale
that way.
if the reasoning or the rationale wasn't good to harm yourself, then one could say that decision was stupid, right? But you're
what's the point?
standing in your stupidity and saying, yes, I was stupid and I did this. And I asked you, right? When is it a good reason, or when is it good? When is doing something stupid beneficial, or is it ever beneficial to do something stupid?
I would say it can be in many circumstances. And like you just said, and you brought up yourself, if I didn't make those decisions, I wouldn't be where I am today.
I gave you, look, that was a critique. That's called a post hoc
Sure, you gave it
rationalization.
to me, but I mean, I've been through rehab and stuff like this, and I understand it. You know, that's something that I've experienced.
So look
and
at this.
I can
So what is this
actually
denial, bro? What is this denial even for? It's just an ego at this point.
No, I'm saying, bro, like
You said nothing
I
bad
can-
has happened, and then you just casually spill the fact that you went through rehab.
And is that bad? What's the definition of bad? That's up to you
Leading
to
up
decide,
to the need for rehab, something has gone wrong. Just like leading up to the decision where tobacco is in your environment and you're at 9
this
and
is a
you
different
choose to
scenario,
use
but
it,
yes.
something's gone wrong. So why are we in denial? This is what I'm trying to explain to you.
Because
You're
in the
trying to
result-
justify
in
the
long
wrong.
term, in the result, and your whole point being long term negative negative effects, in the long term, it hasn't not negatively affected me. I've actually, in result, come out with a positive. That's what I'm saying.
It hasn't not negatively affected me.
I have come out better because of it, because of my experiences. Yes.
I know. Look, I laugh, but I'm happy for you, bro. I want the best for most people. I want to minimize human suffering across the board. So I am happy for you. But what I'm trying to explain to you is, although you can look back retroactively with rosy tinted glasses and say, look at all the shit I've been through. Look where I am now. Good on you. What you actually have to do as well is analyze, wait a minute, why did the bad shit happen to me? If you don't understand why, I'm not saying you, I'm saying generally, if you don't analyze why the bad shit happened, you're prone to more bad shit in the future. And worse, other people are prone to the same bad shit that you could prevent.
Yes, but those weren't the factors that made the negative things in my life happen. That they happened. Like, those weren't the things. There were other things, family trauma, abuse, and things like that.
And no one could take that away from you.
And I have done the therapy, and so I do know what it was, and I have gone back and made the assessment.
Right.
And thought,
but
what was it? And
that doesn't change.
It wasn't the tobacco. It was my environment. It was the people.
Respectfully,
it was abuse,
I agree.
Trauma,
I agree respectfully. But what is the topic? What is the topic we are talking about?
The weed and the smoking.
Exactly. So that is an element of it. The thing, right? So I explained this earlier on, right? People born in low income or, let's say, lower class existences, whether you're in the UK, United States, Sri Lanka, whatever, right? Because of your socio-economic circumstances, meaning the money, the income, the education access, the places you live, because of those environmental factors, e.g., poor parenting, parents who may also be on the substance in the cycle, right? That makes you 3 to 4 times more likely to end up interacting with these substances, making it more likely for you to be trapped in that same cycle. Okay? So the weed or the cigarette isn't the direct cause of the cycle, but it's a key component of the cycle. It's a key component of the cycle. Is what I'm explaining to you. Right, it is. If you're 3 to 4 times more likely to end up on a substance given where you come from, if you remove the access to the substance, the 9-year-old version of you that exists right now in 2026 cannot access that same life path. So his outcomes will be different to you. So the you that's 9 years old, somewhere in the world right now, the outcomes should be different to yours.
So if it's banned, let me tell you, how is that going to change? Because if you're in a poor area, you're still going to get weed, bro. You're still going to be in the environment if it's banned or not.
Partially.
It was banned when I was 9 years old. What do you?
Of course.
Like, that has nothing to do
of course. Right, but like I explained prior with the other guest, right? The idea of banning is various stages. It's a multi-pronged approach. One of those approaches is the social engineering. Illicit substances are illicit for a reason. What makes people access them is the coercion of their socio-economic circumstances and the influence of people through media and politics. Right? So that's what makes you access the legal substance anyway. That's a part of the approach to banning it.
But why ban it, bro? It makes no sense.
Because of what it does to you. We've gone over this.
If your argument was we should eradicate it entirely from the earth, I would agree with you.
You can't eradicate.
Your point makes no sense.
The plant itself.
People are gonna get it either way. Bro.
Listen, the tobacco plant and the cannabis plant itself has done nothing wrong to anybody. It's just a plant, right? Where it becomes toxic or dangerous is what people come and do with it. Okay, so there's not a good enough, like, why should we eradicate a species of a living thing because humans can't get their shit together? That's not a good reason to do that. Okay,
then that's you
gotta address the humans.
Your own point,
you gotta address the humans.
You're arguing
the plant isn't jumping up and slapping you and saying, hey, you better use me. Well, it is chemically once you trouble it, right? But the issue is the humans, hence the regulations, hence the legal approach, right? That's why you address it, right? So what would be the reason in banning it? Because of the harm it does. So it's a harm reduction strategy.
The harm it does to who? Because your whole point being that
humans,
younger, right?
Yeah.
So if
All
it's
people.
legalized for older people, then what's the problem?
Right, because the older people are then the influence on the new cycle of young people, as you were
And they
in,
still will
as
be if
as
you
you
ban it or
were.
not. Even if you
Right,
ban it, they
right.
still will be.
But there's a strategy to address that. This is what I'm trying to say. Everyone has this defeatist. Oh, you can't do nothing about anything. Bullshit. Right? We've done it time and time before. We can do it
When?
again.
Let me
Right?
see an example of it.
Lead, asbestos, cocaine, heroin,
asbestos
methamphetamines.
I
Right?
work in
We've done it
asbestos every
before.
day, bro.
We've done it before. Well, you shouldn't be working around asbestos every day. Okay. So, but we've
It's my
done
line
it
of work,
before.
bro. I'm
Okay.
just saying it's still out there. It's not like you're not gonna get rid of something. People weren't smoking asbestos. It's different, bro.
Do you want to hear the strategy to get rid of it?
It's completely different. Yeah, sure. Give it. I'll take it. I'll hear it.
All right. So the first thing you do, right, is you keep it illegal, but you decriminalize it. What this does is help people that are already addicted to it. So when they do get stopped, or when they do find themselves in trouble because of their substance addiction, they get a fine and mandatory education.
Can I pause you
right?
for 1 second?
Sure.
I've seen decriminalization of drugs in my own city, so I've seen this firsthand, and I've seen it not work within 2 years, and it's been reversed for a reason.
Well, yeah, go on, continue. Tell me how it didn't work.
It didn't work. It just didn't. It failed.
Thanks.
It was
That's
people in the
so much
streets-
information.
Okay, here. People in the streets smoking in your face, blowing it in your face because now it's decriminalized.
Mhm.
It was widespread. More
Yeah.
and more people
I
began
agree.
to use. More and more people began
That's a
to
nuisance.
Sell it, share it, do it in
That's
public.
right.
It made a worse
But you
thing.
have
When
to
we
use-
decriminalized drugs. It became
Mhm.
worse in my environment, in my experience. it
I
became
can
worse.
imagine. I can imagine. But like I said, it's a multi-pronged thing, right? So you need to do this in conjunction with other steps. Decriminalization
Okay.
alone is just a step.
And what's your next step?
Right. So the first
Bringing in
step.
help, right?
The
Bringing
first.
in help.
Right. So the first step, right, is you keep it illegal, but you decriminalize it. Right? You can still be
Okay.
penalized. Heavy financial penalties and mandatory education is penalization. Okay, depending on the severity and the frequency of your law breaking, the stakes could get higher for you. Some people will fuck up the system or just rig it. Okay, so that's something that has to be regulated itself. But the decriminalization process not only helps the people who are currently addicted to it, but it also helps the legitimization. It does by not giving them a criminal record and having them go through the system. That's how it helps them. Okay.
And it just gives them an excuse to do
For
it more
fuck's
because
sake,
they're
do
not
you
gonna
want to
get
hear
in
the?
trouble,
Do you want to
bro.
hear or not? Right. So the decriminalization helps the people not end up in jail and in the system or being disproportionately criminalized. Okay. It also helps the medicinal part of it as well. So studies can be done without the red tape to find out the truth of the matter of the substance. Okay. That's how decriminalization helps. The next step, right, is you regulate the production of it. Okay, this also helps the people who are currently users of it, whether it's nicotine or cannabis. The regulation addresses the addiction portion of the drug, e.g. the THC content or the nicotine content. The legislation or the view for legislation going forward is to reduce it by 95%, meaning if you do continue using it, it will become so pointless to you that you will actually see it's just a vacuum of money because you won't be able to obtain the same high. Okay,
It
which
sounds good on paper,
which is
bro,
a
but
it's a
in real life,
cessation
that's never
tactic.
worked
Okay,
that way.
because it hasn't been
It's
done
never
yet.
worked.
Because it hasn't been done
It's been
yet.
attempted.
It hasn't been done yet.
Yes.
It hasn't been done
It's
yet.
been attempted in my own personal city. Yes, it has been. And
All
it
right, so
failed.
give the example then. Cite the source and give the example.
Portland, Oregon. Just look into it, bro. You'll find out.
You
bro.
said a
It's been
place.
attempted.
Give me
Yes,
the
it's been
example.
attempted.
All right, so give me the exact company that was
We
regulated.
decriminalized drugs, bro.
Give me the exact company that was regulated and they reduced the nicotine or THC quantity.
Reduced quantity. What do you even mean by? What does that even
For
mean?
fuck's sake, because you don't listen. You just say shit, right? So the step was, right,
You're not making
regulation of the production. So step one was decriminalization, right? But you fine people, mandatory education. Step two is regulation of the production of nicotine products and cannabis products. So you reduce the quantity and quality of THC and nicotine by 95%. Okay? You said that's already been done, and I asked you who and where.
So you think that just because people are gonna start regulating it, changing it,
Don't pivot.
nobody's
Don't
gonna
pivot.
sell
If you
it
if you ain't got a who and a where, I'll tell you the rest of the processes. Do you have a who and a where or not?
from someone regulating the content and the
Yes,
quality of
what
the weed
what
and the
tobacco
tobacco?
company,
No, I don't.
what cannabis company? All right, so don't chat shit about it's been done already because it hasn't yet. All right, maybe it has, and I don't know about it, but you haven't got the fucking evidence to support that it's been done yet. Okay, so step 2 is the regulation of the addictive qualities, the THC and the nicotine. Reduction
So
by
how does
95%. It helps
I
the
hear
people
you,
who are
bro.
currently addicted get
I
off
hear
of
your
it
point.
easier.
I hear your point, but why do you think that the government or whoever it is regulating this? No, just let me say this. Why do you think that the regulations of all that is going to stop the illicit side of it?
We're getting
Like,
to it.
how is
I
how
told
is
you
that
I
going to
told you
stop
it's
that?
a multi-pronged strategy. Right? You have to do these things in conjunction with the other things in order for it to work.
Okay, what's next then?
Right. So the first step was decriminalize, right? But keep it
Right.
illegal. Second step was regulate the production process, meaning reducing the nicotine and the THC by 95%, making it easier for people who are currently using to get off of it. Or if they continue to use it, they won't be able to obtain the same level of high from it. The next step
Okay.
is to subsidize smoker cessation services, e.g., funding things like chewing gum, patches, intravenous various like chemicals, but like medicines, right? Therapies and education services. You subsidize those and make them in your face and readily available. It has to be
They
subsidized,
are they not?
or some philanthropy has to happen. Okay, yes,
Are they
but
not already in our
must
face?
must be done in conjunction with the other steps. Okay.
Okay.
Right. So step 1, decriminalization. Step 2,
Yeah.
regulate quantity and quality of the addictive substance. Step 3 is subsidize cessation services. Now, step 4 is more litigation that's going to be rolling out in our country next year, right? Which is making it impossible for younger people to access the market legally ever again, not just past a certain age, ever again. Okay, so what does that look like? The Ash Act, which is coming into effect in January 2027, as long as we got a decent government, is going to make it so anybody born after the year 2009 can never purchase a tobacco related product again legally. Okay,
I agree with that.
all right, so
That's fine.
right, this is why these things have to
appreciate
work
that.
in conjunction.
My side,
right?
I would say, sorry, more. Just to clarify this, I agree with the tobacco side of things. My side more is for the weed. if
Yeah,
that's fair to say.
that will be the right. The reason why we have these conversations in conjunction also is because the cannabis industry is going to become the tobacco industry 2.0, only worse
Okay.
based on the psychoactive effects of cannabis and then the chemical drive to make it more potent, different flavors, etc. Okay, so that's why it's also considered. You will very much see this in the future.
Yeah.
People are currently crying about big pharma. Wait till big cannabis really gets going. Okay.
Oh no, I mean,
Alright.
I commented this earlier in the chat because obviously, like I said, I used to sell it, blah blah blah. So partially, I do agree with you because I don't want the government to be dealing anyway with in regulating any of my weed because I'd rather, Kevin down the street grow it and sell it to me in his bong, and I don't have to worry about any of that.
Maybe there's pros and there's cons to it, right? And I'm not gonna fault you for having that view, right? You might be safer with Kevin than a dispensary or a government regulated body, but that's besides the point, right? So strategy 1, right, is the decriminalization. Okay, strategy 2, right, is the reduction in harmful or addictive substance quality, right, or quantity, both actually. Strategy 3 is subsidized smoker cessation. Right? Strategy 4 is the litigation to stop people born after a certain age ever accessing the market. Now, the final strategy is what is part of what we're doing right here. Right? It's social engineering to combat the influence of big tech, big pharma, big tobacco, big cannabis, media industry, politics. Right? Is actual, let's just say, collective warfare, right, on a psychological level, on a sociological level, to make it so we remove the call from substance abuse. I know it sounds like a dare kind of thing, right, but it's a real thing, right? The view of cool was captured by corporates a long time ago. What cool is essentially is
probably is what made me get into drugs.
maybe so, right? I wouldn't disagree. Like, approach is super important. But cool itself, right? The idea of Right, so it goes back to marketing campaigns and psychology, human psychology, consumer psychology. But what cool is traditionally, it is rebellion. Markets studied cool. This might be a little bit racial for your taste, right? But cool, the idea of cool was black rebellion. It was repackaged in jazz and blues,
Right.
etc. Dress codes all the way up till today, how we operate. But cool was captured psychologically and via markets, and it now became a hollowed out rebellion to stuff full with corporate ideologies and ideas, such as consuming tobacco, drinking at a celebration, eating this junk food, driving this car, wearing this clothes. Right? They captured the idea of cool and attach it to products to sell you. The social engineering aspect, which is the fifth and final prong of the strategy, is to address that. Right? Because we, the people, determine the cool, right? And the market has to access us. The market determines what's produced, but the consumer determines what's bought. Okay? So you have to address it through social engineering, e.g. psychological warfare. So first step, decriminalization. Second step, got distracted. Second
I think the
step,
steps are in the wrong order, but I think you have the right idea.
yeah, I'm not saying they have to be in order. I'm just telling you them as they are. They need to work
I
in
honestly
conjunction.
think that the banning, if I'm to agree with you, the banning of it would be probably the last step,
Well, the banning.
the final step.
Well, yes,
Because
essentially that's true. But remember what I said
it
to
won't
you.
work otherwise.
Nowhere in the strategy did it say this is going to be banned. If you listen, right? So step one, decriminalization.
Argument, I thought. It's on the
Step
screen.
it is right. But this is the psychological warfare of it. It's a war of attrition. So you're whittling it down on various different fronts. Right? You can't come out overnight and say this is illegal. I think some of the biggest laws and some of the biggest amendments and acts that have ever been passed haven't been passed blatantly. Right? They went under the radar until it just became a normative thing. This
So then
this
why
is
are
the
you
same
pushing
thing.
Then my question to you.
Because this is part of strategy 5.
Yet the final step. So why don't you push the first 4 steps before you get there, bro? Like why?
It's in conjunction. Like I'm not in power, I'm not in government.
I understand what you're
Right?
saying.
It's
but then
part of the strategy.
your
So-
whole point on this screen, you shouldn't be banned. It should be step 1. It should be. You know what I'm saying? Like
It should be
you're doing it
banned.
backwards.
No,
Because
you
when it
don't
was
you don't
decriminalized
track
here,
them.
they had the same concept in mind, right? They have a plan and they have these steps that they want to place in order, right? And they didn't finish those steps and they didn't do it, and that's because the first step that they did, which was banning it and criminalizing it, failed.
Implementation
So my
was
point is,
poor.
You should start with something else.
No, I'm not telling you the order in which you're supposed to do this. Right? I'm telling you these things must work in conjunction with each other. You can't have one without the others. And there are even probably steps and ideas that I don't have access to currently and I don't know. Right? But what I'm explaining to you, step 1, right, is the decriminalization to help the people currently addicted. That's what it's for. Also to help clinical trials and studies. Right? Step 2 is the regulation of the production process to reduce the quantity
Can I ask you
of the addiction. Wait, let me finish them. Step 1, decriminalization. Step 2, regulation of the production. Step 3, subsidized cessation services. Step 4, litigation that bars minors from ever accessing the market again. Step 5, social engineering. Okay, all must be done in conjunction with each other.
I get you. I just have
So
a
you don't
question.
ever have to come out and say this is banned. It will be banned, all right? You don't have to say it. It becomes such. It becomes the new reality.
Could I just ask you if it's decriminalized where you live?
I don't know. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. But there are some grey areas.
Because where I live, if I get pulled over by the cop, I have some weed. He doesn't care, right? He says, "Go about your way, go home." So, I'm just curious.
The,
For
the
your experience.
police may have that discretion, right? Policing
No,
is
it's
very
legal.
is very
It's
different,
legal.
right? Yeah. So like I said, in the UK, as far as I'm aware, there are grey areas with cannabis consumption, depending on where you are, what the situation is. There's grey areas, but I think across the board, it's still within. It might be considered a Class C drug or a Class B drug. I can't remember, but it's technically still illegal in terms of street consumption. How that's being policed now is changing a lot. Right? So I don't really know. Okay, but we're speaking in general. Right? Remember, the main source of the conversation is tobacco industry. So you're attacking something that is corporate and legal already. It's not something that police. Now, police it in terms of you can't smoke here anymore, and they have been doing since like the early 2000s. Okay. But the
No, I was just
majority of that regulation of where you can and can't smoke is carried out by a fining system, so a civil system, right? Not a criminal system.
So, yeah, I mean, from your side of things, it sounds to me like more like you're worried about the tobacco than the weed. I mean, I don't know. Is that true?
Yeah, of course. Okay, then I'll just say I
agree
but the
with you.
weed
It's
is
just kind of a pointless
the weed
argument.
is the
I
is the
agree.
secondary thing, right? In the same way, tobacco industries pivot to the vaping companies, and the vapes will fill the vacuum of where the tobacco was. Cannabis will fill the vacuum of where vapes and tobacco was. These, if you just peep game on a corporate level, it's just literally pivoting the product ever so slightly. They could bring cannabis into the same marketing regime as tobacco, okay? Same as vapes. They can and they have, bro. Think about how Amsterdam works, right? The legalization.
I live in a city where I can go down the street and buy weed right now. So,
Well,
yes,
there you go,
let's
right?
continue.
There you go, then, right? In the same way, over here, you can sustain a whole economy, meaning a whole street of shops, by just selling vapes. You can't really do that with tobacco due to the regulations, right? So the same thing can be said, right? If you can now go from being able to sell 1 or 2 boxes and packets of tobacco in a shop a day, well, it's more like hundreds, really. If you can go from that to being able to sell from a shop consistently for the whole day, customer in and out, that is the next step. And that is why the cannabis will become tobacco 2.0. Worse. Okay?
It's been like this legal for what, 10 years now here? There's been dispensaries and you can
Yeah.
buy like 4 ounces at a time. I don't see it being the same. In my
That
opinion.
it's worse. That's what I just said to you. You can't run a tobacco shop like that. To get it, right? The access is worse, and then the psychoactive layers is worse, right? For instance, there was a chemical. Let's call it. Let's call it what it is, right? It's an arms race, right? A chemical arms race in tobacco at an earlier stage, right? And they figured out if we mix nicotine with ammonia, it goes to the brain faster, delivering the high or the stimulant faster. So there was an actual chemical arms race to make tobacco more potent, more addictive, and then of course you know the history, getting doctors to say it's good for you, getting lawyers, right? There you go. Now you're catching up, right? So the same.
My point, which is why I like to go to Kevin, like we were talking about earlier.
Maybe, right? But again, that's a different conversation, right? But
Okay,
the problem.
I gotta go, but I just want to say,
sure.
Good chat, bro. Appreciate it.
So last question for you then, right? Do you consider quitting in the future?
Yeah.
Good luck to you then, bro. I hope you figured that out. And it's a good
I already
sign.
have.
It's a good sign that you know something
Already
is
have.
wrong
That's-
already.
My point is, I already have.
All right, cool, bro.
All right.
So
Hey, good chat, bro.
take it
Appreciate it.
easy. Right?
You too.
So last point, like it's like 12, right? The cannabis industry is very much so currently engaging in that same chemical arms race to make the highest potency THC, more flavors, more attractive packaging, more enticing marketing. So you're gonna see it get much worse as time goes on. You're gonna see all kinds of unscrupulous fucking just avaricious people accessing that market. You know, the types of people that would be in the Tony Robbins conference, how can I make more money here? Right? The type of people that exploit people are going to rush to that because it's going to be a political gold mine or a gold rush. Yeah? We already saw it during the pandemic, right? Anyways, look. People just won't get it until it's on their front door, like that poem. I'll kind of recite it. Every night, a group of masked men roll up to a neighborhood and they knock on the door and they take away a family. And all the other families look out the window, they say, oh, well, at least it's not us. Until the day comes where there's only one family left on the block and there's no one left to say anything about it when they knock on the door and take them. People won't realize it until it's on their front door. Or, to paraphrase a rapper, Cannabis, people won't realize till they can't buy them McDonald's fries. And I'll leave you with that. We'll pick this up tomorrow, Stag, bro. But y'all gonna see. Y'all gonna see. Yes, they won't realize until they can't buy the McDonald's fries, bro. That's what it takes for some people.